Testing, 1, 2, 3. All right, everyone, welcome back to another Friday night live stream here at Christ-Centered Ironworks. So glad to have you here. We got Thomas in the shop this evening. They can't see you, Thomas. Hop in there. There he is, spry and young as always, and ready to get some work done. So in tonight's stream, this is our Treadle hammer giveaway stream. This is the year of the Treadle hammer, so this is another Friday night giveaway stream that we'll be doing. So not only will we be giving away a Treadle hammer kit that we sell over at our website, blacksmithingblanks.com. Blowing out the eardrums, Thomas. Easy, easy. Not only will we be giving that away, but we will also be giving away some vice stands as well. Will you go to camera number 2?
Yes.
Not vice stands, but vice tool holder kits. So one of Uncle Buck's Forge design and one of Christ-Centered Ironworks, or my design. I did a little different take on it there. So we're going to be giving one of those each away, as well as a pair of tongs from Keith Bair, or Possum Sausage, as you know him and love him here online on the YouTubes. But we'll also be giving away some sticker packs from Dana Maggiore, and we will also be giving away two dinner bells from the good old Thomas Goodymoot, so that he made, and we'll get into that here in a little bit. So it ought to be a pretty good evening of giveaways, as well as we will continue on the forging process throughout this whole thing, working on the 500,000 subscriber giveaway Anvil. Tonight we got a lot of work to do. We got to pull out the horns, and then and probably square up the body, and that'll be it on that. And then all the rest of the work will be heat treatment and grinding it. And it should be available for our next giveaway live stream next month. So, that was a lot to say in one short little bit of time. How's everybody doing, and who do we have, Jess?
All right, let's see here. We have Dana Maggiore. Eric says, still working, but I'll be listening. Rigid Ironworks, Roger Caldwell, Robert Lannis. Tim O'Connor says, good evening, everyone.
The usual suspects are here. That's
course.
good. Good.
Jeff Killian, hi. Say hi to Janice for us. So yeah, and Daniel Burkhalter says, happy Dad's Day to all you dads tomorrow.
Thank you.
Or, well, Sunday.
Happy Father's Day to everyone out there. Oh, for all of you that are fathers. Oh.
Bob Lalonde says, P.S. My son appreciated the guillotine tool you rushed out for his birthday last year.
Hey. Well, very welcome. It's our pleasure.
They can see me playing on my phone over here.
Yeah, they can. Hey,
and you
manage the fire, would you?
He does look like a giant standing over there.
Yeah, he does. He's like 9.5 foot tall right there. Now he's like a midget in the background.
Yeah.
Funny how a play on camera works, you know. The camera adds 35 pounds. I'm actually as skinny as Thomas is in real life.
So if that adds 35 pounds, then I'm hosed, man.
Yeah, he needs to eat a biscuit. That's why.
Let's see. How's the audio looking or sounding?
What's that?
Somebody said the audio seemed out of sync. We'll see. Check with them.
Yeah, we checked the sync before we got started, so it should be synced up.
Mad Mr. Fox says, happy Father's Day, Roy.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Corey says, happy Father's Day to Roy and Thomas and all you other dads.
Thank you very much.
Bob's Fab says, I received my Uncle Buck's tool holder. Thank you, guys.
Very welcome. You'll have to let us know how that comes out for you.
Yeah.
Make sure you lift that.
So yes, we are currently at 47 viewers.
Sweet.
And 19 likes on our end.
Awesome. Well, hopefully the audio is still in sync somewhat. We'll see.
Wilder Supply Co. says audio sounds fine to me.
Okay. So as long as the audio is, going well with the picture. So I'm going to move this up here because people have asked forever. Thomas and we have a video coming up. Get that focus on the phone there. They see that pretty good?
Yep.
So this is what that toolkit ends up making. So we actually have a build video coming out where Thomas and I built a bunch of these stands for various post vices that I have in the shop. So you guys will be able to see a video of these actually in action. And let me tell you, they hold a lot of stuff on your vise. They hold a absolute ton of stuff on your vise. Very handy tool to have in the shop. You know, especially if you're into taking and building yourself a vise stand. But if I swip over, go here, there's Uncle Buck's on a little small Indian Chief post vise. Now this Indian Chief post vise was given to me by Keith Bair, and he asked possum sausage. He asked me a few weeks ago what I thought I was going to do with it. Well, I've decided it's too nice to give away. I'm going to keep it and use it as my little traveling vise to go around and do demos at shows and things like that. So that is what I have decided. So I'm keeping it. Thanks, Keith.
The Art of Craftsmanship says, that's sweet.
Yeah, so you can see the difference there. You go to camera 1, Jess, while I get this refocused.
Yep.
All
Hey
right.
Keith, if you can hear me right now, after the live, bud, get a hold of me. I got something for you if you want it.
Jim Solman says, I appreciate your channel. Thank you.
You're very welcome. I appreciate you watching the channel. 'Cause it wouldn't be around if I didn't have anybody watching it, right? So thank you very much for being here and the support and the kind words.
Frank
Yeah.
Strzok says he's getting to go home from the hospital today. His birthday was on the 13th, so he made it to 67, and he's alive and on the mend.
Praise God for you, Brother Frank. Greatly appreciate you giving us that update. So,
Shane Lalonde says, Thomas is an apprentice. I thought he was the hand model.
he's both.
I'm the jack of all trades and the master of none.
Yeah. He's like dual acting hemorrhoid ointment. Both heals and cools at the same time. At the same time.
I am also like hemorrhoids.
You can't get rid of
Can't
them
get rid of them.
once you get them.
Jarman V, yes, we are located in Michigan. Possum Sausage says, will do. To Thomas?
Yep. What did he say about me keeping his little Indian Chief vise?
He said, great! Exclamation mark.
Good. I'm so glad you're happy with that decision because I made an executive decision that I was going to keep that little booger. I'm like, it's too nice to give away or sell. It's like I need a little vise. The other day when I went out and did that demonstration where I made a little mini anchor, I was like, you know, it would have been real nice if I had me a little vise right now. I'm like, yeah, I do have a vise. It's just not mounted to a stand. It's in the shop. It's sitting there. And so Thomas and I, we made up a post. So we made a leg vise stand for Thomas's leg vise. I made a leg vise stand for a much bigger one. The one that you guys seen that has the concentric circles. That one is like 140-pound, 5-inch wide jaw vise that I picked up. Been almost 2 years ago now. From Goshen, Ohio. I picked that thing up. That one's real sturdy. So I bought that. So we made one for that stand as well. And then we made one for the little Indian Chief to be a little portable, take it to shows kind of vise. So yeah, pretty excited about that. We were able to get that work done. I still have to edit all the video footage together for that. And then you guys will see a build video on those in the upcoming weeks. How are we doing on heat here, Thomas?
Yeah, I've been moving around. It looks like it's getting in there pretty good.
Yeah, we're definitely hot enough. Starting to boil
Spear
the
Grass,
surface
I look forward
there.
to getting that book of poetry. Thank you for sending it.
Hey. Book of poems.
Book of poems.
Thank you, Adam. All right, you want to take your position there?
Do I need to be high or low?
Huh?
Do I need to be high or on ground?
You're gonna be on ground level first. We're gonna pull out the horns, draw them to a point,
Okay.
and then we're gonna set them.
All right.
Then we're gonna set them down after that. So, all right, go to camera number 2, Jess.
Yep.
All right. All right, we got this piece nice and hot. got this anvil nice and hot and heated up. We're going to go ahead and draw the horns to a point, or attempt to. Give me a second. So that'll be stage 1.
Right there?
Yep, go for it. Hold up. If you see it kick too much, let me get back in line with it before you go to whole hams. Go. Just work it at the tip. Whoa. Go ahead. Whoa. Whoa.
Better?
Yep. Just gotta have to go a little slower with it is all. You can't just go whole hams. Good enough. Let go. All right. So we've started the point. Start drawing that out, pointing that out. So if you can see how that diameter is shrinking a little bit. That's still wide on that end. We have to watch that as we compress this, we don't compress a natural, hot shut into this that'll eventually become a cold shut or a line or a crack later on. So we're going to be very careful and methodical as we draw this thing out from here on out. The reason why we're forging the horns upside down or from 3 sides is because if you take a good look at regular anvils, let's go to the main cam, Jess. You need to step out of the way, Thomas. If you take a good look at regular anvils, the horns always are thicker down at the base and then taper up to the flat surface to keep this in line, and the taper comes from the bottom. So horns on anvils, even the conical horn on the round horn versus the square horn, they are all an offset cone, if you will. So they always offset to one side to support the top working surface. So that's why we're doing it like this. Just like in the little mini anvil, the very miniature one we made from a bolt, from a railroad bolt, we did the same thing. We drew the work out from this orientation. We can go to camera number 2. So we drew it out from this orientation and pulled out our material. If you go from this side, what happens is you leave a sharp undercut of your horn there, and that's a weak spot. So you don't want to do that. You're just creating a stress riser across that horn. Basically, as you work this piece off, you're kind of just shearing off the horn as you work this piece by drawing it out from the top side. So that's the reason we do it the way that we're doing it here, where we draw things out from the bottom. The trick to this is, however, is as you can see, if you bring your hammer up, Thomas, there's not a lot of space in there. So Thomas has to hit really accurately to take and draw that out. Now, one thing I could do to take and help Thomas out is I could put a flatter or a fuller of some sort and fuller that material out from this side. Then all he has to do is worry about hitting the tool and not necessarily hitting in there. But likewise, he could flip this around and come in with the peen and help stretch that material out. And that's probably what we're going to do in the next heat. We're going to help stretch this material out by using the cross peen on that striking hammer to take and pull more of the horn out, if you will. So we'll go ahead and get this hot again. And we'll take some more questions, comments, complaints, and concerns.
Bobby Lana says, I cringe every time I see that sledgehammer come next to the edge of Olga.
Yeah? Well, it's what she's made for. Cool those.
Eli says, hey everybody, doing chores, but I'll have you on in the background.
Hey Eli. Good to see you in the stream, brother.
BC 65925 says, stop by to say hey, so hey.
Hey Bill. Good to see you.
Chris S says, wow, this is something I would always like to add to my hobby.
Oh yeah? Making anvils?
Tom Holmes says it was 91 degrees where he's at and 101 degrees, 101% humidity out there. I'd fire up the forge if I thought it would dry the air.
Yeah, you can keep that kind of weather.
Jameen V says, once it fish lips, is there a way of bringing it back from that?
So, if you get a situation where fish lips, it depends on when you catch it. So, if you catch it early enough on when it's just starting to fish lip, you just drive the lips back and down into the piece. So if my finger here is the piece, or say if my hand's the bar of rod, and my other hand's the hammer coming down on it, and these fingers are kind of starting to fish lip out like this, you would drive those back in and then down on the piece at a diagonal. So this way you end up with a belly in the bar to start with, and then you continue to draw your work out. Now, if you've already gotten it to where it's completely all the way past and it's starting to kind of collapse in, those lips are collapsing in, you have to just cut them off. You've went too far at that point. So it's real important to pay attention to the work as it's progressing. One way of doing that very rapidly without realizing it is as if you have a power hammer. So if you have a power hammer where maybe you're hammering on something and it's gotten a little cold, you're just like down to more like a dull red, or it's more to like a bright red temperature, but it's not really a forging temperature, and you're just kind of planishing the surfaces up. That's a good way of starting that fish lipping process. I did do a whole video on why you get carp's mouth or fish, or that fish lipping thing, and the reason why, the science behind that. And basically, you're moving the surface material quicker than you're moving the inner core material, and that's why that happens. Because the anvil's doing work on one side, your hammer's doing work on the other, but the middle is not being compressed enough to outrun the top and bottom surfaces. So that's a short, condensed version of that video. I could probably do like a short on that in like 8 seconds or less. All right. Go to camera 2, Jess.
All right.
Go for it. Work progressively to the horn. Working at the base and work down towards the horn. Not too much on the horn. Whoa. Use your flat of the hammer. Go for it. That wasn't near hot enough. It needs to be a lot hotter next time. We bring it out. Well, yeah, it needs to be about twice that hot next time we pull it out. Can't be just orange, it's got to be yellow. Yellow hot. Okay? All
got a question for you on
Yeah.
striking. David Reiner says, since you have a striker, would it be better to use 2 sets of tongs, one for the base and one rounded to keep the top in control?
Yes. Actually, what would be better is to have a pair of tongs suited for this purpose versus 2 sets of tongs. Holding it with 2 sets of tongs can be helpful, except when I need to let go of the other set of tongs to be able to work top tools underneath. So it's a temporary, say under the next forging session, I will probably throw on a pair of tongs, try to maybe grab it with another pair of tongs. I am running into a bit of an issue because I need to be on the far side edge of the anvil. The tongs stand up on the anvil, which then creates, go to camera number 2, Jess, which then creates a situation where now I'm holding the piece not flat and true on the anvil, but I'm holding it kicked like a rhombus. And then we're naturally forging in a rhombus. So I generally do not like having my tongs sitting on the anvil. I only like gripping pieces where the tongs stay off the anvil, if that makes sense. So forging the underside of the horn with just striker blows, it's a valid point. I could just use a top pair of tongs and a bottom pair of tongs to try to hold it a little more securely or in place. But as soon as I flip that over to work the horn, now my tongs are sitting on the, when I work on the sides of the horns, now my tongs are sitting on the surface of the anvil and kicking that little anvil to the side. So we're forging a taper, we're forging a rhombus into the piece, which is not good. So we don't want that. So that's one thing to have to, it's kind of, if you don't have the right pair of tongs, if I took the time to make a correct fitting pair of tongs for this project, that would be the optimum. If you're going to undertake something like this, it is good to forge it till a point that it starts getting awkward, and then engineer yourself a tool to make it not awkward anymore. And that's a good learning way of doing that, because if I forge any more anvils, I'm going to have to up my game as far as different types of tools for holding the piece better and manipulating it. And I did think, well, maybe I ought to just go ahead and weld on a stem, like a hardy stem on it that I can grip and manipulate with a regular pair of tongs in the correct orientation for this project. But then that has the drawback for camera and video wise that once I want to go square up the base of this piece, when I want to square up the sides of the base, that stem's going to be in the way. Now I got to take time to go cut it off, grind out all the weld material, and then reforge, and then forge that to a square cross section. So anytime you undertake doing toolings like this, it is always a balance. It's always a balance between what you need, what would be convenient, what would be optimum, and sometimes cost is involved as well. But sorry, that's a longer tirade than just rather why don't I use a second pair of tongs. But I'm kind of covering a broad spectrum of topics, because if you're making tools, ultimately we're making a tool, right? We're making a small, like a jeweler's anvil, right? If you're going to undertake a process like this, it's best to take and figure out kind of what you're going to need before you start. So if you know that you want to take and pull out you want to pull out like a sharp stake on the bottom so you can drive this into a stump of wood, you need to figure out what you need in advance before you get the metal hot and you're starting to waste money and time, right? So are you going to weld that stem on? Are you going to forge it out of one piece? And then that helps, that helps dictate further processes to you, right? Maybe you got to come up with some butcher tools, very specifically designed for doing what you're looking to do. And that's half the fun of these type challenges. But whenever you're live, whenever you're doing it for YouTube or videos, sometimes it's not economical both in time or resources to go make a bunch of specialized tooling for a one-off thing, right? So we just kind of suffer through. If you're only ever going to make one railroad bolt anvil, and that's all you're ever going to do, don't go buy any specialized tool. Don't go make any specialized tooling or buy any specialized tooling. Just make the railroad bolt and fidget and let it drop to the floor and pick it up a half a zillion times, because it's just the one that you're going to make. But if it's a product you're going to be offering, or say you show it off to a jeweler friend and they're like, hey, I want some of these made for jewelry work. Could you do one like this and one like that? That's when you specialize. You go ahead and work up your tooling. Great question, though. All right.
Keith asked if this is going to be modeled after Olga.
A little bit. It'll definitely be that European pattern. Yeah, so if you see it, it's kind of got me kicked weird. That's why I can't have that tong in there. Might have to try to grab it and pull it off the anvil some here. Get a different reach. Right there. Go for it. Well, if don't hit with the toe of your hammer, you got to match the pitch. Right now you're coming down flat. See how we're scooping it out?
Yeah.
You need to come down and match the pitch with your hammer. Ugh. Bring your heel down more. Work towards the tip. No. Well, so now you can see the problem with this is now I'm like clear back here in the center of my anvil. So if Thomas makes a mishit, Olga's face is going to be damaged from it, so it's kind of one of those deals you have to play it a little bit by ear. How do I do this? I got it, dude. All right. Face is coming out fairly flat. Horn's not too bad. You come in there and grab a bit more material the next heat. Bring that horn down a bit more. Yeah, not too bad. Small progressive steps of forging. Get that one hot some more.
Speargrass says, what a lot of people don't realize, they are seeing not only how to forge an anvil, but how to train an apprentice.
If he is indeed trainable.
Hey, I quit peeing the bed at 5, all right?
He's housebroken, y'all.
It
Housebroken.
was well before 5, guys, okay? Not still wet in the bed at that age.
He was full on. Drenching it.
Kel the Blacksmith says, why not move the square horn where you can still hold the tongs off the anvil, but have to work on the striker side of the anvil?
There's just not an angle on the anvil to do that. So there's not an angle and the tongs aren't correct to do that. That's why I can't do that. So, oh, we're at camera 1, by the way. Yeah. The way Olga's set up, she doesn't have a shelf corners to work with, like outside square corners. Actually working this on like a block, like a larger block, a steel, just like a square block would be easier to work this. The reason why is I'm butting into the horn here. There's very little area to to work with between here, the hardy hole, and the anvil face. The anvil face is 6 1/4 inches wide, so that doesn't do you any favors either. It's a reach issue. There's a reach issue on this particular anvil for this process. So that's just some of the reasons why I'm not doing that. As you can see, even with 2 tongs, it's still goofy as all heck trying to hold the thing it wants to slip around. Probably what I should have done, or which would have probably been the best route to go, is to weld a hardy stem to the bottom, put an arc weld of the hardy stem on the bottom of it, and have a 2-hold thing. So I could hold one horn, and I could hold the hardy stem that's welded to the bottom of the base of the anvil. That's what I was considering on doing today. But I was like, you know what? We're just going to keep up going exactly the way that we're going. It's a little awkward, but again, it's a one-off. So I'm not going to go through the extra effort of making it easier on myself.
And if anybody says that, oh, Roy's just over here just holding the metal and Thomas is doing all the work, Roy yesterday, well, earlier this week, he had me be the director while he struck, and that was challenging. You know, I was like, this is not that easy. You know, so a lot of people think, oh, the guy directing is just holding the metal. No, it was a lot more challenging than that.
So if you go to camera 2, I'll show what we're working on. This is another video that'll be coming up.
I wasn't trying to
No, go ahead.
let you.
Number 2? So we started work on a 6-pound hewing axe. And so this is going to be my own personal axe that we're making. And so basically what I'm going to be using this for is for, traditional joinery and wood. So I'll be using this to not only hew some timbers, but do some timber framing for some other projects that I've got personally for around here. So this started as, I want to say it was 1 3/8 inches. Thomas, I think it was.
1
Yeah.
3/4.
Was it 1 3/4 inches?
1 3/4 by 1 3/4.
Yeah, that's right. 1 3/4 square, 1095, and about yay much longer. So a good bit. It was 8 inches long to start with, and we've upset all this mass for the head. And obviously we've got a good way of thickness to go here. It's probably just a touch over. It's about 1 1/4 inches thickness down here at the bottom, a bit bigger here up at the top. But all this has got to get drawn out into a nice big blade. So I'm going for an 8-inch, 6 to 8 inch wide face or bit of the axe. And then, we still have the eye to punch and the body and all that other good stuff. And then I'm still deciding on whether I want to do some decorative carving work around it to personalize it and make it my own, one of those type deals. So that is an upcoming video that we're in the process of filming. But yeah, this thing, holding on to this, even with proper, mostly proper fitting tongs there, this was still a challenge. And that's what Thomas was talking about. We were working on this the other day, and I let him do some of the directing and me do the striking on a few parts of it. And it's not easy to control a 7+ pound billet of steel swinging around on the anvil there.
Lauren wants to know if Shelby thinks you're house trained, Thomas.
Probably not. She still yells at me and tells me I need to do more of the domestics.
Athel Ironworks, thank you for gifting 5 memberships.
We don't pay her, no, never mind, though, huh? I'm getting him in trouble. We don't pay her, no, never mind.
I show up every morning and he's amazed.
I'm surprised he's still with us.
She'll let me live another day.
All right, let's go to the anvil. I'm going to switch to this side.
part of the horn be better for us? Or?
Nope. Would, but it wouldn't be on camera.
I see.
Pursue a career in YouTube, they said. It'll make you famous, they said. You'll make YouTube millions, they said. Lies, Steven.
Well, you might be famous.
I think the word you're looking for, Jess, is infamous.
Ah, okay. Gunter, yes, we are working on a miniature anvil to celebrate hitting 500,000 subscribers.
There. That one's done.
Mm-hmm.
Now we'll do the round horn.
Is the round horn easier or more challenging than a square horn?
There's the same amount of pre-setup steps. The round horn's just challenging to make it round. But otherwise, the forging is the same. So you still have to focus on clean forgings. Now, one thing that's nice about a round horn is a round horn will hide a whole bunch of sins for you. So if you got a rhombus in your piece, you can forge that back and then round it right up, and no one knows. If you forge that square horn out and you get a rhombus in the piece, well, you're hosed. You either got to draw it out way further than you anticipated, or you got to grind it out. You got to grind the rhombus out of it, and it's you'll get a smaller horn than you anticipated. With a round horn, you just make it disappear.
Possum Sausage says, this last heat, I do have to compliment Thomas on his ability to read Roy on when to strike and when not to strike without any words spoken.
Yep. We're working on that. So he gets a little antsy sometimes.
I do.
He jumps the gun. So cool off. So if you're going to be striking, and this is a good time to just talk about striking since, we're here and we're showing a process, might as well be teaching. So I'm going to show this, pretend this is a top tool that I'm working on, okay? Or this could be the piece of material that we're working on. If you want to go to the second camera real quick, Jess, just so you can see this, okay? It does no good, say if you're a striker, and I'm directing for you, okay? We're working on this big piece out here. Don't know what you're making, but say you're working on a big heavy piece and a pair of tongs are holding it. It does you no good, and Thomas, you take that position in the front there with the other hammer. So if the goal is to take and put blows exactly where we want them, all right, on this piece and work in a progressive manner across the piece, right? What good is it if you hammer on it when I'm doing this, right? So if I'm still moving, go ahead, go through that motion. If I'm still doing this, right? You as a striker should know better than to try to take and swing at a moving target, right? Because if you just go and you try to go wild at it, and I moved it by accident, and again, I'm showing this on a very large scale. Say this was a lot smaller, a much smaller piece that you're drawing out, say 1 inch or under, that you're using a striker to help you put a tip on or something, right? Even a big piece like this, if you're doing that, now we've made a mishit on the piece, haven't we? If I move a little bit more and he comes down, or I move here and move, and then he misses. So that perceived non-communication is I'm teaching Thomas to perceive stillness in the piece. So when I'm sitting here, so get the hammer out of the way. So when I'm sitting here, I'm getting it ready, I'm figuring out where I want it, maybe I'm getting my tools, I'm keeping the piece in movement, right? And then when I come, now he's ready to strike, see? Because I've come to a halt. That means I've locked in. So my hammer may be doing this. So I might be, no hammering. So I might be working the piece over. I need to work on, say, that facet on the hammer here. The facet on this portion of the hammer. I want to get that on the edge. So I'm working it. I get my, it doesn't help if I'm out here away from the edge. He has to wait until I get position. And then I'm held solid, see? So that is the nonverbal part. So when you see guys working efficiently with one another, see, he went after it again, even in the demonstration. See how it could be a very beautiful work, right? Without having to take and even say anything. So I could be like, okay, I'm going to work on this piece. I might communicate that to him prior to us starting. Say, we're going to draw out this. See how I came to a halt? Or if the piece is moving and then I get, see how it comes to a halt? That is what we're showcasing there. That's the non-communication where I don't have to tell him that now's the time to strike. As long as I'm moving, it means don't swing at it. Stay off. Don't hammer, right? Because if you hammer, you're going to damage the hammer. You're going to damage the tools. You'll damage the piece, or you'll damage yourself, right? So as long as I'm moving, that means stay the heck off. Don't be forging right now. I don't need you forging. I need to just find this spot. Let me get into position. And then you're allowed to go after it. And if something's going really well, generally what happens is there's a few practice taps. So you're going to come in and I'll go right here. So it's not really a tap. It's just he starts in with a lighter blow and then he slowly picks up harder and harder and harder as the forging's progression. So as long as we're drawing out a piece, we're going to start to make sure when he hits it, I'm still set. I'm still rock solid. And then as he hammers, right, you'll see him pull it out. And you might hear me give him a yip. Or if I lay my hammer flat like this, I mean stop it. You know what I mean? If he's hitting and it's going well, and I'm like, whoa. I wait until he hits that last strike, and I go, whoa. And that means quit. You see what I'm saying? So, and I might wait, and I might say, whoa, if he's really getting after it. I might be like, whoa. And then he finishes out the blow, and then I come here to the side. So that's how you work on non-communicative striking. And that is basically the most basic form of smith striker work all around the world. So you can actually work with a smith that you don't even speak their language. And this is a process that has been developed by humans for tens of thousands of years. And it's across all blacksmiths, right? It's a very common language that if you pay attention to it and you take time to practice it with somebody and learn, you can go to a blacksmithing event and strike for somebody and do it confidently, and that'll work out. But that's what you're observing there, that non-communicative striking. he's not necessarily waiting for me to give him a command. He's waiting for that piece to come to a halt. And when it comes to a halt enough where he can accurately make a strike, then he goes after it. One thing you could do if you're just beginning striking with a team, right, working with a team, is for everybody to be on the same page. So at the end, when I go to put it back in the fire, I'm talking about what we're doing next. I'm doing that not only for the benefit of the audience, you guys watching out there on the YouTube, but I'm also doing that for the benefit of Thomas. So I expect him to pay attention. I'm telling him what the next step's going to be, right? So I'm telling him what the next step. We're working on the other horn. We're going to, where I'm like, well, we need to go ahead and draw out a bit more on the bottom side of this horn, right? So he knows what tools he should be actively thinking, what tools will be coming out next. When we pull that anvil out of the fire, he knows I'm going to be doing something similar that we started with. If I had a flatter, if I said I'm going to flatter out that horn, he knows I'll have a flatter in my hand the next time I come out, so he can mentally prepare himself how he's actually going to take and work the piece, how he's going to hammer. So all that's kind of said without saying it, if you will. And the longer you work together, the more you do this type work, the better you get at it. And so Thomas and I, we're still very much practicing. We're still very much green at this particular process of doing this type of striking work together. But he's coming a long ways. Has come a long ways.
And it's more than just swinging a hammer for the fences.
Yeah.
You can swing for the fences and be John Henry, but if your hammer blows aren't
accurate,
then you just made more work for yourself.
Yeah.
Corey Shire asks if normally the striker hits the same spot regardless of where the smith positions his piece.
Not always.
Power hammer.
Not always. It depends. This, I have to move the piece around the anvil a lot to get a better purchase and a handle on the actual piece we're working. So therefore, he has to move with me, right? He has to move wherever the piece is going. Generally speaking, I'm management, he's labor. I manipulate the piece, he provides the power of the forging, right? The forging power element to it. That's not to say that there's he can slack off and he's not doing anything. He very much has to do quite a bit to control his hammer and get the right kind of blow I'm after. But generally speaking, he has to move with me. So I might tilt the angle of something up because I want him to get a little steeper angle. He has to follow me. He has to follow the pitch, otherwise told not to do that. He has got to follow that and be on the same page as I am. Otherwise, you have that miscommunication and mishits and things like that. And that does happen. It's not the end of the world when that happens. It's just that's the way it is.
Tim
We at camera
O'Connor.
2?
Yep.
Okay. Go for it, Thomas.
Jonathan, thank you for the $5 super chat. He says, hi guys, here to support your channel and love you guys.
Thank you. God bless you. Appreciate the support. Hold up. This thing's rotating all around.
Tim O'Connor, thank you for the $5 shipping donation.
Don't hit out by my edge. Yeah. Go for it. Focus on the tip, not murdering it. Whoa. You bring your pitch down harder. Come down more with your heel, less with your toe. Whoa. All right, we'll get that hot again. Whew.
Tim O'Connor says, what are you going to do with the fish lips on the square end?
There are no fish lips on the square end. Oh. We're working those out. So on the, there's no fish lips over here on the square end. On the round end, there won't be either in the end of it. So at least I didn't see any fish lips.
Maybe it was a shadow or something.
It might be. It might be a bit of scale on the end of it.
Blue Lots, happy birthday.
Yeah,
Mike?
there's no fish lips there. There's like a notch there on the end where the material has wrinkled and compressed, but there's not fish lips there, so it should be all right.
Mike G, good to have you. Has
Hello,
been
hello.
a while.
Somebody was happy birthday.
Bulat Schmid.
Happy birthday, Mulat.
He says, optical disillusion.
Mm-hmm. If there was some fish lips on the end, since I'm already to mention where I like it, you have no other choice but to grind them off. So as I clean this up, if I do find a crack or something that was a cold shut, you have no other option at that point but to grind it out. So if it's already went to that point, I've already drawled it down to a point, it's there. So I can just chop it and grind it out. That's about it.
Keith asked, what weight is Thomas's sledgehammer?
This one is, if I remember, it was 6. I think this was 6 pounds.
I thought that was the 8. Oh, that's 6.
Yeah, this
That
is
was
6
like
pounds.
4 or 5.
Yep, that's a 6-pound hammer. And the other one, that is, we have this other hammer, straight peen. This one here is like a 4-pound maul. It's like a splitting maul. 4.5, 5-pound maul, somewhere in there. It was probably heavier at one time, but I cut a good bit off to turn it into a straight peen, and it had been wore out before then, so it's lost a good bit of mass to it. It was probably an 8-pound maul originally, and it's been cropped back quite a bit.
Jim Solman says, just curious, how are you exhausting the forge?
No exhaust. Not really any exhaust system required. I'm running coke, met coke in this, and so it burns actually really extremely clean. There's no sulfurs in it or anything like that you see with regular green coal. You don't have all the impurities in there, so really the only thing I get is soot. There's a good bit of soot that kind of floats around in the air. It gets a little annoying because it kind of coats everything, but it does that regardless. It literally does that regardless of you having a hood or not. Right now I'm working on repairing the roof. Eventually I'll be putting in a much larger stone hearth in here, a stone forge. And when I do that, then I'll be doing all my ducting work to take and actually run up and out of the roof with a stainless steel chimney stack. So I have the option to work with green coal or coke, whatever tickles my fancy that particular day. But as of right now, there's no ventilation on that. My shop is what you see here is a tiny little pie slice of my shop. The shop's over 2,000 square feet. There's 32 feet to the ceiling. That's the peak of the roof there, with 16-foot sidewalls. So it's quite the big space. So, and it's plenty drafty for an old barn.
But we're buttoning it up, though.
Yeah, we're buttoning it up slow but sure. All right. Let's see if we can't go for this a little more. Go for it a little more there. What? Go for it. Whoa. I want you to focus just right out on that tip. Yep, draw that tip down. Well, the two-tong method seems to be working out, even though I've had my reservations about it. It's definitely jangly to hold this thing. It's a bit awkward to hold it. But, yeah, downside of not having, having the right tongs set up for the work. Well, so I've got a little crease on this horn. If I can see that all right. Mm-hmm. So you see that crease there? Mm-hmm. So that crease, I'm going to hammer out. I'm going to clean that out. That's why I only went so far. If I were to keep bringing it down, so on the next heat, if I were to keep bringing it down like this, that crease would close up, and that would be a hot shut, okay? We wouldn't want that, because then we would have a clear crack-looking thing in that horn, okay? And that could come back to bite us when we go to round it up and do other things with it. So we don't want that. So what we're doing right now is the reason why you can see that as a clear crease in the piece is because we are still pushing, we are planishing, and we are pushing these surfaces to the top and the bottom, or the left and the right of this crease right in the middle. We are pushing them back in. So the way that crease becomes proud or in plane with the rest of the surface. So we're taking our two mountain peaks and pushing them down to the valley. We're doing that by having it up this way. There's no crease on the bottom, as you can see, of the horn. There's just a crease on the top. So we're cleaning and planishing that out. And that might have been, and forgive me if that's what Tim O'Connor was referencing. He might have been talking about this here. Was he talking about this, or was this horn?
He said square horn.
Because this is the square horn. This is going to be the round horn. So the one we're working on is the round horn. And yes, if you did see a cold shut forming, that's that there. And we are processing that out now. That's what we're working on right now. We're going to process that out. So the next heat, when we come out, I'm going to be in this orientation, and this is all going to be top set work. It's all going to be a set hammer. We'll be working with a set hammer from the top of the tool. All right, put that back in the fire, Thomas. Thank you. And let me, I also want to take and say this. When you work, I shouldn't have to say this, but just in case, because there are some people that don't work in the trades, don't work in construction, that watch the channel from time to time. So if you'll notice, when I talk to Thomas, I don't talk to Thomas with oh, snookums, would you, please, if you think about it, maybe could you do this for me sometime? Okay, you're a real doll, right? I don't sweet talk Thomas into doing anything. We work together in the shop. We both come from the trades. And the way that you talk to each other in the trades is, hey, I want this, 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 done. That's it. You say it as few words as less as you have to. So you may not see me say a whole lot of please or thank you. That doesn't mean I don't respect Thomas. That doesn't mean that Thomas isn't skilled at what he's doing. He does. I project what I need done in the shortest time and the shortest amount of effort possible. So like, Thomas, put that in the forge. And he can tell me, hey, Roy, this is happening over here. And that's how we are all day long while we're in the shop. So.
And I actually respond better to, hey, go do this, because to be honest, my brain's only so big. For one, I want the shortest, least amount of words given to me, and I'm going to go get it done, and it's going to get done then. You try to make a whole sentence out, guess what I just heard? Please, go. You know,
he heard waka 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 waka.
That's
waka,
what
waka,
I hear, and so least amount of words. Like you said, we both came from the trades. I'm notorious for that with my guys when I was in the trades too. They're like, my boss would say, "Oh, you're being too hard on them." It's like, no, I'm being forward. You know, it's not being hard. It's not like we disrespect each other.
We're here to accomplish an objective, and that's it. We can be friends at lunch, but while we're working, we're here to accomplish an objective, a task. So I have to mention that because I get comments. I get comments all the time where someone's like, "Wow, he's a real jerk." You know, he's a real jerk to Thomas. Like, no, not a jerk to Thomas. Me and Thomas have a language. We have a love language.
Yes, it's our...
And it's short. Our love language is short-tempered and short-fused. It says, "Get it done." So, but no, when you're working with a guy, that's kind of what the rapport you build up. You both have tasks. You know what you got to get done, and so you shouldn't have to take and rehearse it every time. And so a lot of the politeness and the feelings go out the window. You just get it done. So.
And guys, he does give me attaboys off camera and stuff like that, so it's not like he's a jerk.
They're few and far between, but
they're there.
But they are there. They are small, and almost insignificant. Almost insignificant, but they're good attaboys.
Possum Sausage says he's a jerk to everyone. # least liked Blacksmith.
Hey, can't take my title.
It's just at the end when anybody says "but." After they
But-
give you something and they say "but," everything they said before that is null and void.
Yeah. Like, Thomas, you're a great guy, but. All right, that's got enough heat into it. I want to take some questions, comments while we got them, hun.
Yes.
Real quick. And then I want to give some stuff away.
Sounds great.
Before we take that to that next little step.
Okay. One Satan Loses. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Says
Thank you.
donation for shipping.
Thank you. Greatly appreciate that support.
And your cousin sent a $2 super chat and says, "How you feeling today, cuz?"
Oh, fair to middling. Fair to middling. I'm on my own 2 feet. Well, 1 foot, anyhow. I'm hopping on my one last good foot. That's about it.
On the side of the dirt.
Yeah, I got one leg in the grave. That's what it is. I got one leg that's just saying, "Nah, not today. I don't do life with you." That's what I got.
Tim O'Connor asked if a swedge block might be handy for rounding the horn.
Great question. A swedge block would be handy in rounding the horn if you had a top swedge to go on it. That might be nice. But it'll only be handy to a point. So if you have a conical shape in a swedge block, a conical shaped depression, super handy. If it's just a straight swedge, not as handy as you might think. It leads to stair stepping, if you will, because you're kind of taking a square bite into a cone shape, right? Versus having a cone shape and that cone shape is just dressing the hammer blows that are in it. So can be handy as long as it's the right shape swedge. Yes.
That's a real
Question?
good
Here. Mike G says, Roy and Jessica, congrats on the 530K subs. That's awesome. We've been here since y'all only had 2000s.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we go way back. Way, way back. Long time ago. 2,000 subs.
Mm-hmm.
So when does the
That's been a haul and a half.
I think he got our... Mike, did you win our 10K giveaway hammer? I think you did.
I believe so, yeah. Like G did.
Yep. James, we got some storms yesterday morning here in Michigan. Possum sausage, so when does the Thomas-powered power hammer happen? As needed.
On as needed. I'll pay him $50 to drive to your location, but it will cost you $25,000 for me to do that. Deal.
Do I get a cut?
Deal. Yeah, I said $250.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, to Jess. And $50 to you.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I said.
If it's going to possum sausage,
You
pay
give
my
me
fuel.
hey, you give me a 5, I'll give you 2 10s. You give me those 2 10s, and you give me those 2 10s back, I'll give you a 5. See? That's how that works.
You pay for my fuel, and I'll drive the possum sausage tonight.
Oh. What else, babe?
Dave, thank you for the $5 super chat. Here's for future liquid patience, aka coffee.
Thank you.
And
Thank you. Greatly appreciate that.
he also asked, what do you enjoy making the most?
French Baroque ironwork. That's my fave. That's my default. I like making ornate stuff probably the most. Cantus sleeves, that sort of stuff. If you want to, can you go grab one of those, that big a cantus sleeve there, Thomas?
Just one? Come on, I got 2 hands.
He's got 2 hands. He's going to model with both hands. So,
Can you go to camera 2? Jeff?
no, it's 2 punched in. Camera 1.
Okay.
Yeah, stuff like that. Cantus sleeves, French Baroque work, leaf work, stuff like that goes into super specialized ornamental ironwork. That's my favorite thing to make.
And we do sell these blanks over at
Yeah,
Blacksmith.
I think there's some people who sell those over at blacksmithingblanks.com.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
.com. So, and that is how you put a very shameful plug in your own videos.
Shameful.
Shameful. Not shameless, shameful. It's shameful. That's how it's gotten these days. It's just shameful. All right. I want to give away some sticker packs, Jess.
Sure.
I say we give away, 4 or 6 of them?
Sure.
Sound good? So we'll give away like 4 now.
These are open worldwide, right?
Yep, these are open worldwide. So if you go to camera number 2, Jess.
All right.
So we're going to give away a sticker bundle pack to one lucky subscriber. And we'll give away a few of them as we go here. But it comes with the Christ Center Ironworks sticker. It comes with the Year of the Treadle Hammer for 2023 sticker. Very specialized sticker. And then it comes with the Winter Chicken Dinner 100K sub sticker, which we blew past. So, yeah.
But we got extra, so you can
But
have
we got
one.
extra, so you get one of these. You get one of these. So we're going to go ahead and draw for those. We're going to draw for the first name. If this is your first time here, the way that we do this is we take and rat-a-tap-tap the anvil. And when I come to a halt, Jessica picks a name at random. And then you have 24 hours to get with us through the contact email in the description to claim your prize.
Yes.
If you don't do that, well, it goes to somebody else. That's how it works.
Oh.
All right, we ready?
Yes, we are.
Okay. In 3, 2, 1. Who do we have, Jess?
We have Gary forging on Blacksmith Pop with stickers, please.
Hey, Gary forging on. Congratulations. You got some stickers, please. All right, we'll give away a second sticker bundle pack.
All right.
3, 2, 1. Who do we have, Jess?
We have Rigid Ironwork with stickers.
Hey, Rigid Ironworks. Good to see that you won one. Stickers. Get with us, contact email, you know the drill. And let's give away a third one. Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3. Who do we have?
We have Jacob Crown with stickers.
Awesome. Jacob Crown, congratulations for being the third winner of a sticker pack. So thank you, Dana Maggiore, for sending those to us so we could give them away. Mm-hmm. We are supported by some really great folks, and I really appreciate that. I'm going to be gooey for a second here. Be nougaty.
Yeah, he's
I know. Yeah, we're gonna be nougaty here for a second. I really want to thank everybody for their support over all these years. Some people, new people to the channel, you see the large, big subscriber number. You see people, comment, all sorts of crazy comments. You may see a ton of people on a stream. You might have that thought, oh, must be nice. We wouldn't be here without the continued support that we have received from the blacksmithing community. We wouldn't have 500,000 subs right now, or 530 plus thousand subs. We wouldn't have the great community that we have. We wouldn't have the membership roster and the names up on the shop wall without the constant support of the community. We wouldn't have the giveaway items. A lot of the giveaway items, get provided to us free of charge. Keith Bair is providing a pair of tongs in tonight's stream that he will be, contributing and giving away. Thomas, he's contributed free of charge. Dinner triangles, he's given those away in the stream, right? I'm giving away some of our own stuff, like the Treadle hammer kits and things like that. I couldn't do that without people who purchase blanks from us over our website and show their support in that way. And I wouldn't be able to do some of the big ticket items like I've done over the last several years without the support of, companies like Holland Anvil and Blacksmith Tools and, or Blacksmith Supply, right? I wouldn't have been able to take and do that without their supporting the channel and with some really great tools and giveaway items and things like that. So thank you to my community out there for all your support. You are what makes these giveaways possible. And like Dana, he's been supporting from the very get-go. I've never once had to take and pay for my own stickers because Dana, that's his way of supporting Jessica and I over here at Christ Center Ironworks. He takes and he makes up some stickers for us so then we can take and give them out there to you guys, the blacksmithing community. And really, it costs us nothing but the shipping. And even oftentimes that's covered by you wonderful folks in Super Chats. So thank you so much for that. You keep the wheels turning. And Jessica and I really do appreciate that. So I just want to make mention of that. The items we're giving away, the reason for that is because of you guys out there. So if you're new to the channel and you see people who have been in here and they said, yeah, I've been here since you had 2,000 subs, you can thank them. They've been here. They've been supporting. They've been loyal fans for a very, very, very long time. We've been here, 7 years now?
I believe so. 7
years on the platform, coming up on 8, right? And we went from me doing my first weird live where I'm like, is this thing on? I don't know how to work on buttons. Angry Roy. I've been through all these different stages, and these people were crazy enough to stick with me for all those. And I am internally grateful for you all. So thank you so much. Enough nougatiness. Let's go ahead and get this forged out some more. And then we will give some more stuff away because that's what we do. Go to camera 2.
Mm-hmm.
You ready?
Working on it, Dad.
So we're slowly working that out. We still have a little more to process here at the tip. One more real good heat on that, we'll be able to clean that right out. So, we've got one more good heat on that we need to do. Let's brush this heavy, Thomas. In fact, we might set up that wire wheel so we can power brush it. I'll throw this back on in the heat for now. Was just getting ready to ask if Jess had some goggles on, so she does.
Yep, I do.
It's good. All right, we're going to make it loud for a second. So, pro tip, whenever you're working with something big, if they're at camera 1, so stand over here. Whenever you're working with something big, it scales a lot. If it's awkward to use a regular butcher block brush on, you can go ahead and use something like a wire wheel. I like using this little cordless angle grinder for this purpose with a wire wheel on there. The cordless angle grinders don't have as much torque as a corded angle grinder, so they're a little nicer for this process of taking and wire wheeling a piece off while you're forging it. It leads to a little bit more rapid, a little better surface finish. And as far as I'm concerned, it's still traditional enough. You're in the wrong spot over here. Camera, Thomas.
Throw it at that camera.
No, it's going to throw it back at me. Good. Yep, where's that in there? Good. Side. Good. 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 Need to come in there and break some of that scale up. That's it. Good. Can they see that little tip there?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Right there?
Mm-hmm.
I got an inappropriate joke for that, but we will save that one for later. So we're gonna knock that seam right out of it. It was too good. All right. So you can see we took and wire wheeled that off just to help get some of the heavy scale. It's been sitting for a little while in there. It's been getting over oxygenated as we work. So we're just throwing a little wire wheel, getting it cleaned back up. As you can see, we haven't brushed it in several heats. So a lot of that's working into the surface. So I wanted to get that cleared up before we move on, because we're getting close to forging out and finishing out the rounding on that horn. Questions, Jess?
Yes.
Good. Sorry.
I was going to ask, is John Burnell on the live or no?
I don't think I've seen his
Cool.
comments, no.
Because I wanted to show something, but if he's in, then I can't.
Andrew Rawlings, thank you for the $3 super chat. Says, I'm a newbie to blacksmithing and loving this.
Thank you, Andrew. Greatly appreciate it. Welcome. Welcome to the community.
Jacob Crown says, I've been watching you since you were in the little storage unit. Your experience with the hydraulic press is why I won't build one.
Okay. Well, good. The experience with the hydraulic press thing is, you have to know your own limits, right? You have to know your own limitations. Wasn't trying to say that you shouldn't build one or you should never go after trying to build one. My simple thing is just you should know what you're doing, or at least have a really good grasp on welding. And I didn't when I built my first hydraulic press, and I about paid dearly for it with my life. Luckily, it was just a collarbone that I paid with it. Paid my stupid tax in full on that one, almost in full. So yeah, so that's more or less in the video what I was trying to express in that video about building or buying a hydraulic press and the dangers around building your own. There's a lot more pressure there at stake than you might think.
Rigid Ironworks says, thank you for the video of the mini anchor. I've made 3 already and sold 2 at the store.
Hey, very cool. You're very welcome. I actually did a storyboard on those.
Yep.
They come out pretty cool. Thomas will bring it over and show it to you. And then I want to give some stuff away. I want to get some more stuff away. What time are we at, Jess?
We are at 6:31.
Yep, we need to give away a lot of stuff to stay on task. Then we can get into stay on the forging. Get the main cam.
Yep.
Yep. Let's go to B cam, Jess.
Okay.
The Anvil cam. So you guys can see I made up a storyboard. I ended up making up a storyboard to take to me to demonstration or shows of making these little miniature anchors. This is actually something that I've been wanting to do for the longest time. I've wanted to storyboard some of my work, and I just never got around to doing it. 1, time. 2, so time has always been an issue, or at least I've convinced myself, it'd take too long to storyboard that. I've been trying to take and storyboard a lot more of my work, so this way there's a physical representation of things that I can later on draw from, and I can help give some inspiration to others on. So we go back to main cam. It's good. Oh,
with this right
here.
there,
Go to camera 2. Sorry.
with this storyboard, I made my little one.
Yep. So again, I've been putting in more effort doing that in the shop. Nice thing, you can't see it here. If you're part of the members live, which I'll get into here in a minute, we're not going to have a members live stream tonight. I'm planning on scheduling a very special members only live. That will be us burning names, more membership names into the membership wall. When we do that, I will show the other wall over there where, can you fix that anchor? It's hanging weird. I'll show where I've got all of my storyboards hanging up. So that's kind of what I've decided for indoor decorum. Plus it's just fun. I've enjoyed making something and showing a step-by-step process, or close to, at least within 3 to 4 steps of how I made an item. I've been enjoying making storyboards. So those storyboards are going to hang up in the shop, and eventually you'll see them all over this back wall, and they'll be all over the place. Just storyboards of ironwork. Yeah, they're kind of a fun thing to do. So I've neglected to do them for 15 years. I should have started them a long time ago, and I would probably have enough to fill this place, but haven't. So never too late to get started on something new, right? Am I right? Is that good and hot already?
She cooled off a little bit.
Right,
It's hot. Let's work that out, and then
Okay.
we'll give something away.
Sounds good.
Questions, Jess? Comments?
Tim O'Connor says, LOL, the anchor is hanging weird.
Yeah,
It's an anchor.
I know, it's an anchor. But I have OCD, okay?
Heeman Senior, you are just in time.
CDO.
Yep. CDL. We're at camera number 2, Jess?
Yep.
Okay. Hold up.
Should be gone.
Worked it right out, see?
Mm-hmm.
It's gone now. You're gonna have to just one hit it. You can't just go hams. gonna have to, one more good heat on that. We're gonna bring out the big flatter. I wanna push this over. We've over scooped that side. We need to bring that back over to it. So it needs to come down. So I need to like be able to pick this up and whale it right in there. Maybe we can get one big pop there. Maybe another one. She's getting more in line. That's good. Get another heat on there, and then we'll come out. We'll do this. I'll get a bigger flatter out before we progress any further. Questions?
All right.
And then we'll do a giveaway.
Okay. Jason Holloway says, my crossbeam hammer is starting to have the head slip off the handle. I can tap it back in place, but it won't last. What do you recommend to prevent it from slipping again?
Okay, so you can refresh your wedges, the wedge that holds your hammerhead in place. There should be a wooden wedge in there at the minimum, bare minimum. If it doesn't have a metal wedge in it already, you could put a metal wedge going perpendicular to the wooden wedge. So you don't want it to be in parallel, you want it to be perpendicular of the wooden wedge, and that'll help tighten things up. One thing you can do for wooden handles that have gotten loose on you on a hammerhead is soak your hammerhead out in a bucket of water before you get started for the day, because the wood grains will swell and they will re-tighten up the hammerhead. If you work in a very dry shop, so if you work in a very dry environment or a dry area of the world, the wood, when you get it, might be greener or have a higher moisture content. When you set your hammerhead and everything's right and tight, but then as that wood continues to dry out, it shrinks, and that wood will shrink a little bit. And you will have seasonal shrinkage like that. So the barn here, believe it or not, these gaps are way different in the winter than what they are these boards. They move a lot, and I do mean up to 1/4 inch to 3/8 of an inch per board. They move a bunch depending on the weather, whether we're in the wet spring or if we're, bone chilling. If we have a really dry winter, they will really shrink up almost to nothing, and you'll have, they'll really cruise away from one another. So you'll get seasonal stuff like that as well. So the easiest way for you to do that is to soak out your hammerhead in a little bit of water before you get going. At the end of the night, you could kind of just dunk it, get it wet, and then, wipe off the extra moisture and just lay it off to the side. And then, that'll rehydrate things and it'll swell up and be a little tighter for you.
Another thing you can do is right at the base of your handle. This one's a prime example. Let it start to slip off a little bit, and you can take your pocket knife and trim off any little frayings around the base right here. Just a little bit to knock those where they're starting to splinter out, and then you can rehandle it, and that's going to
dry it up, drive it in deeper.
Drive it in just a little bit deeper, and then go with getting it nice and wet.
Yeah. So another thing, so something that I've been doing with my hammers for a little while now, which just makes a lot of sense. Generally, you see when people make hammers, they flush cut the top, so like the eye, so the wood that sticks up through the eye is smooth with the top of the hammer. We don't need to go whole hams. I need to do a giveaway here. But if you look at my hammerhead, go to number 2. Mm-hmm. If you look at my hammerhead, can they see that all right?
Yes.
It's not flush. This isn't flush with the top. It sticks up a solid 1/4 of an inch outside the hammerhead itself. What that does is that provides almost a riveting effect. So when this top portion of this wood spreads out, it holds the hammer onto the haft of the hammer handle here. I did do the same thing with this. You can see there, it's more pronounced. So all of my hammers I've begun doing this to. I used to cut it right down to the bare bones minimum where there was nothing, and this was perfectly smooth on the top. But what I have found, no matter how well you made the pocket, you made this eye for your hammer, no matter how well you did your carving work on the wood or whatever, they always tend to loosen up. They always end up slipping just a little bit. And it just takes them to keep working back and forth, just a little bit, and then they just work down further and further until you lose the hammerhead out of the handle. You lose the handle off the hammerhead. But when it's wedged like this, I've used this thing for literally hundreds of thousands of cycles. And I mean hundreds of thousands of hammer blows. And this handle, since I've replaced it, has not come loose yet. Not even budged. Not a morsel. And that is not the best eye I've ever done in my life either. So I've left some sticking out and I wedged it heavy in the top, which almost creates like a riveting effect up top. So that's something you can do, especially for all your strut tools as well. Same thing with this one. See how I've got it sticking out the top there? Mm-hmm. I used to cut this one smooth, flush. But as soon as I cut it flush, a few hammer blows later, a few hundred hammer blows later, this would just work itself right off the end of the wooden hammer. Because the wood will compress ultimately. It'll eventually compress and wear down inside this eye, and then it gets loose on you. So if you have a little more stick out on your hammer handle material and wedge it properly, it should not ever go anywhere on you. I have a problem now that generally I don't ever lose a hammerhead. I don't lose a hammerhead in middle of striking. Go camera one, please. Mm-hmm. Me talking over here does nothing. Yes. I'm looking at the belly button. I don't ever lose a hammerhead. What I'll end up doing is I'll shatter a handle. So a lot of times I'll get this where the handle, I'm wailing on something so hard that I'll actually fracture the lengthways of the grain on the hammer handle. So that's more common for me. And unfortunately, that usually happens about the time my hammer handle starts getting really good. When I say really good, my last one looked like I polished it. It had all sorts of nice chatoyance to it. And it's because of the movement of my hand, the abrasion in my hand, just using the piece, I had worked it to a polish. I had worked the whole hammer to, well, at least the hand-holding portion to a full polish because I had used it so much. And again, it was just getting good. It was just like, oh, this thing's so beautiful to pick up. And then I was really getting after some forge work one day, and sure enough, just broke the hammer handle right in two. So that's the only problem I have now. I don't ever lose heads off my hammer heads because I allow there to be a little bit of stick up and wedge it properly, and you should be good to go. Good. Long-winded answers. That's what I'm good at. Oh, I should probably just do a sit down. I know those aren't super popular, but I should take like my top 50, break them down into just like 5 top 10 videos of questions I get asked all the time, and just sit and answer them with my long-winded replies. That way, if your inquiring mind wants to know, I can tell you. So, we good?
Yes, Mike G said, Roy, did that start as a 2-inch diameter piece for the anvil?
No, started out as 2 3/4, wasn't it?
Well, 2.5 by 7.5.
Okay, it was 2.5 by 7.5. Yep.
James Helmke says, just used your spatula blank as a pattern and made one out of copper and used it at a cookout for work. A coworker loved it and bought one.
Very cool. Very cool. That's what we do. We sell stuff so you can sell stuff. That makes me happy. I love hearing that. I love hearing success stories of you guys, going out and making something from the blanks we sell and, end up making some money back. So you can do cool things like buy new forges and anvils and all the fun tools and such that we like to buy and acquire as blacksmiths, right? Well, speaking of fun tools, let's go to camera number 2, Jess.
Yes.
So the very first item that we're going to give, big item tonight, that'll be up for grabs, I want to give away, is one of these Uncle Buck Forge design vise mounted tool holders. So we will have a full video on these. Basically, it's the same process for either or, but we will have a full video out on these later on this month, and where we show doing the build on this, actually putting it in use. As you can see, you got some hammer holes here to put some hammers. You got some tong holes here to put your tongs in, and then this big wide open area here is where the vise actually mounts to it, and it gives you an extra bit of space. You can, you know, have some flat surface area to clutter up.
That's right. Drop the stuff on.
It gives you some stuff there. What?
Which, by the way, we do. If anybody really wants one, but you don't want to wait till another time to have a chance to win one, we do have a Father's Day sale going on right now through Monday for 15% off anything with Father's Day 2023.
Yep. So there you go. We got camera one?
Yep.
Yeah. So, the Uncle Buck's Forge one design, that's the first one we're going to give away. This one actually hasn't even been cleaned up yet, well, this one, my other one hasn't been cleaned up. It's right off the bed. But this one here has been wire wheeled a little bit. So this is how it'll come to you. And you can build your own vise stand out of that, vise tool holder. So, mention something, Uncle Buck, or put UBF, or, you know, rat-a-tat-tat, something in the comment section that has something to do with vices. So this way, we know which names to pick out of the crowd, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, so Jessica's going to draw one person at random. I'm going to ring the anvil. Once I come to a halt, she's going to pick one person at random, and you will have 24 hours to get with us. 24 hours to get with us with your contact information, your address, all that good stuff through the contact email in the description. If you do not, we will not send it to you. We will give it to somebody else. Okay? Set? Go. Who do we have, Jess?
We have the Crazy Neighbor with UBF tool holder.
Ha! Crazy Neighbor. Congratulations. You are a winner of the UBF tool holder, vice-mounted tool holder. Congratulations.
What makes him crazy is he out there mowing the lawn at 8 a.m. on a Sunday.
Probably. Get with us through the contact email description. Do it now. Don't wait. Do it now. All right. So the second thing we're going to give away, go to the camera number 2, Jess. So we are going to give away this lovely Christ Center Ironworks designed, or Roy designed, if you will, vice-mounted tool holder. So this is what I call the concentric tool holder. I believe that's how it's labeled on the website as well.
Yep.
And as you can see, you have this area in here to take and actually mount your vices, your post vices too. And then you have all these great slots around here to put as many tools as you like in here. You know, either hammer handles, or can go through here, put hammers or tongs, or you name it. Various tools, bending jigs, things like that can all fit on this and be stored very nicely right at the vise. If you make a little S hook, you can even hang, you know, your butcher block brushes from this, or anything else you can think of there. Obviously, super, super handy. So now we're going to go ahead and give away one of those.
And Speargrass, this item is open worldwide.
Yep. And you can find these items, by the way, over our website, blacksmithingblanks.com. We've said it about 1.5 billion times, but these are available, and we do have them in stock for immediate shipment. So they will ship out. If you bought one today, they will go out literally Monday morning, first thing. So, and that's, about as fast as shipping as you can get.
And if you order something Monday morning, it will be packed and ready to go before end of day.
Monday afternoon, assuming we have it on stock and on hand.
A lot of times we cut right there.
Yep, we do. So, all right, enough of that. Shameless plug. Shameful plug, right? We're going to go ahead and rat-a-tat the anvil. Are people commenting, Jess?
Oh, yes.
Are people excited?
Oh, yes,
Are they ready?
Yeah.
All right, in 3, 2, 1. Who do we we have, Jess?
We have Mitchell Edwards with tool holder, please.
Mitchell Edwards, congratulations. You are the winner of the Christ Center Ironworks Design Concentric Tool Holder. Congratulations, Mitchell Edwards. Get with us now through the contact email in the description. You have 24 hours to do so to claim your prize. That works out pretty good. So if you're new here, you might be wondering, why is Roy so heck bent here on people having to get here within 24 hours? It's a matter of respect. We're giving you something for free. The least you could do is not waste their time by making us wait 2 months for you to reply casually. Oh, I think I won something from you once. Well, I ain't going to go look for it, what you won. So you have to get with us, be prompt. We're prompt about our shipping. We take it seriously. You take it seriously. And that's how that works. Because we have had a few people in the past that have been kind of like, oh, yeah, I think I won something from you a few weeks ago. It's like, buddy, that was a few weeks ago and a whole budget sheet ago. You know, it's like, you've been written off the list now. So, yep.
Todd Good,
So don't wait.
Todd Good, I think we came up with those tool holders March. Does that sound about right? It was right around when you went to the conference. We sat down and designed them.
Yep. Yep. They've been out for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
So, made multiple posts about them. Yep.
Yep, first video's gonna be coming out on it soon though.
Yep. The first video will be coming out soon. So, I thought they were pretty self-explanatory, but then people were like, what are they for? It's a tool holder. It mounts to the vise. Well, how does it mount to the vise? Okay, we'll make a video on it.
Possum sauce.
Anybody from our overseas, if you guys, some countries they charge you to, what is it, tariffs or taxes on it?
Yeah.
Somebody from others across the pond wins. So, if you guys are from overseas, make sure this is something that you guys really want.
Yeah.
Because we're shipping it out to you guys free of charge.
Yeah, we had one of those not too long ago where it shipped out of country and the person had some sort of tariff or something they had to pay for it, pay customs to get the item, which, again, we shipped it free. It was a gift, but they still had to pay some sort of customs. Well, they denied it at customs, and then we were out the shipping.
Yeah, I think it took like 6 months to get back to us.
Yeah,
too.
and it took like 6 months to get back to us.
So
yeah, so not only were we out the money to ship it to the person, but just for them to deny wanting it. So if you do win something from us and you are out of country, we don't really care what your country's laws are. That's up to you to do your own due diligence what your country's laws are before entering giveaways and stuff, because I ain't got the time nor the attitude or temperament, I guess you would say, to go and research international law when it comes to giveaway items and things like that. So
Keith says he also does the same 24-hour commitment as we do.
Yep, for the tongs. All right, this good and hot? All right, we're going to work at this now. Congratulations to the winners that won those items. So I think we have a Treadle hammer to give away. We'll be giving away that probably next. And then we have some dinner triangles and Keith Bair's tongs to give away yet. Mm-hmm. Sound good?
Yep.
All right.
Let's see. Josh, the Father's Day code is Father's Day 2023. So it shouldn't be too hard to remember.
You want to brush that?
Go for it.
Mr. Coffee commented that you must have survived the roof, Roy.
The roof is ongoing. Haven't survived nothing yet. The roof is an ongoing shenanigan. Don't murder it. Got to stop murdering it. nice, all things considered. Do a little cleanup of that horn. We're gonna have to take up one more cleanup heat on this thing. It's not looking half bad. Look good?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's at the point of grinding. So now we can go ahead and forge in a round. Now we'll take the corners off. We've got a good clean forging up to this point. Go ahead and take the corners off and round her up. And then that horn will be done. And last things last, we'll heat the whole piece up. I'm going to grip it very gingerly. And then we're going to take and square off the base, the body of this. I do like the round though. I don't know. But I do feel like it's maybe a little incomplete if it's round. What do you think? Should I leave it round, or I was originally saying I was going to leave it round, I believe. You know what? To heck with it, I'm going to leave it round. I like it being round. So, somebody else doesn't like it being round, well, they can reforge it at a later date. We're going to go ahead and round up this horn now.
I like the roundness of it.
Yeah. People are like, but I won't have a way of anchoring it.
Michael Hayes says, fantastic workmanship.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Michael.
Tom Holmes sent a $5 super chat and says, I'm so mad about not winning anything that I'm giving you money. Hope someone deserves winning the Treadle, but I'm off to the shop.
Well, thank you for giving me money. I'm glad I can make you mad enough to give me money. That's a unique skill set and special ability. Roy Pate makes people so mad they give him money. Watch it.
Speargrass says, aw, I want to hear Thomas do the plug.
The plug?
Yeah. For the website.
www.
I got something for that. And I can show this off. There is
Blacksmithing blanks.
.com.
There you go. That was the plug. Oh,
Okay.
go to camera 2.
Okay.
So, John Burnell, if you are in the live, please divert your eyes from the screen. Repeat, if John Burnell is in the live, please divert your eyes from the screen. I made this.
Bring it back. It's got to be back here.
So I made a little bit of a makime or makimagami or however you want to pronounce it. And I was the heathen, used the quarters.
Keep talking.
Okay, so I made this from one of our bottle opener blanks that we have over at www.blacksmithingblanks.com. And so I made this for John Burnell. He sent me a bottle opener. And if you guys are new coming on here, if you guys would like to send me a bottle opener, get a hold of me on Instagram, and I will return something back with my touch mark. The only stipulation I have on the bottle openers are that they are touch marked, because it's my way of collecting from you guys. So,
And it'll probably be the same quality and the same niceness, but better. It'll be made with gold. It'll be gold mochame.
Roy, do you remember where I work, bud?
Yeah.
We're not bringing in those YouTube millions.
Yeah, we don't pay you that much to be here. Oh,
Tim
there we
I
go.
O'Connor,
used my lunch money to make that.
Tim O'Connor says, looks great, Thomas.
Thank you. Thank
Michael
you very
Hayes
much.
says, nice one, Thomas.
So,
He used his lunch money and everything, so there you have it.
so that was made from one of our blanks that we have. One of the, what do we have, Jess? Over 200 blanks, probably.
Pretty close to.
Probably now, yep. So,
So, we definitely have a lot of them.
Possum sausage, I think Thomas's phone died.
My phone did die.
Yeah.
It's currently on the charge.
Bill Will says, I made a tripod about 4 inches tall, 3/4 inch mild round stock, nothing fancy, just pointed tips and the loops connection. How much should I charge for it?
it's 4 foot or 4
Four-
inches. Because that's not a very big tripod if it was made out of 3/4
4
inch
foot.
bar and it's only 4 inches
sorry,
tall.
4 foot tall.
4 foot tall. Okay.
Yeah.
So nothing fancy, just loops and points on the end.
Mm-hmm.
Made it from 3/4.
Uh-huh.
Trying to hold up the Titanic. You gonna dress an entire wildebeest.
He's gonna feed an
You gotta
army.
watch it. It's super tiny on this end, so you're gonna burn our tip right off. So just bring the temp up, and then just let it soak.
Okay.
Let it just soak the heat. But you gotta watch it now because you'll roast that tip clean gone if you go full bore. So tripods, if it has like a decorative twist in it, that helps sell it. If it's just a straight bar with some nice, some like nice rat's tail eyes with it and a stake at the bottom, those generally speaking will go right around 75 to 100 bucks, depending on how much material they're made from. You could have got it by with a lot smaller diameter stuff. Since it's so big, I would say probably right around that 125 to 150 range. I would suggest to add maybe a twist or something to it visually, so it just doesn't look like a plain bar. It doesn't have to be super fancy, but a lot of times that's the difference between a piece selling or not, is that little gimmick, of a twist or something like that, or it's been brass brushed or something of that nature. So just something to keep in mind. Tripod legs, you don't have to make super elaborate. They don't have to be ornate and multiple, twists and all sorts of craziness attached to them. But that's generally what I've seen. Plain ones go from about 75 bucks to about 100 bucks, and then from about 125 for big heavy duty with some ornamentation, all the way up to $150. So that is what I would say your perceived range is, and now that's online. Now, if you're at a local show, at like just a regular craft show, most people aren't walking around with 150 bucks in their pocket, so you're probably looking more towards that $75 to $100 range on a tripod.
Tim O'Connor says, Thomas, is that you in the MABA member list?
I am a member in MABA.
Yep.
Chris Tunnel says, just made it home from work. Glad I can make it here.
Awesome. Glad to have you here. All right, let's give away a treadle hammer, Jess.
All right.
We'll give that away, and then we'll give away the tongs, and we'll give away the dinner bells.
All right.
Sound good?
Yep. Now, the Treadle hammer kit, that one is going to be in U.S. only
Yep,
because of the weight.
because of the weight. So, unless somebody wants to pay lots of money to have it shipped to them. It'll cost lots of money. And just let it relax and sit there. We're going to do a giveaway. All right. So, since it's the year of the Treadle hammer, do you put the graphic on screen now, Jess?
Wow.
Since it's the year of the Treadle hammer, we ought to give a Treadle hammer kit away. And that's what we're going to be doing. So, as you can see, we got a Treadle hammer kit in the background that Thomas is using there. And so we're going to go ahead and give one of those away now. It's a complete kit to make a base model treadle hammer. The base model is a manually foot-operated treadle by your own foot. There's an upgrade option where you can upgrade to the full air package, where you can actually use an air cylinder for the air assist. on the treadle hammer that could be bought at another time. But all you need is a 2x4, a sledgehammer, and an anvil or some surface to strike upon, and you are in business. You can build this with basically a drill bit and a couple wrenches. So that's one of those. I have a full line of videos on YouTube that you can watch if you want to see how that's done for anybody who is interested in the future. Our lights are dying one by one here. So
it is kind of dark.
Yeah, it just got dark on us, didn't it? So anyways, so you can look online if you want to see more about the treadle hammer, but we are going to go ahead and give away one of these now. And then later on, we'll give away the dinner triangles and the tongs from Keith Bair. Ready?
Yes, we are.
All right, so comment. It's open to USA only, unfortunately, because of the weight. It weighs a little over 40 pounds, so it's here only. Yeah, you can get one light going there. And we should be good, right?
Yep.
Same rules apply. 24 hours to get with us. Ready?
Yes.
Set. Include treadle somewhere
Treadle.
in your comment. 3, 2, 1, go. Who do we have, Jess?
We have a flock hammer with hammer kit.
Flock Hammer. Congratulations, Flock Hammer. You are a winner of a Christ-Centered Ironworks Treadle Hammer Kit. Congratulations. Congratulations. I feel like we should have like one of those little soundboards that can add like cheers.
Woo.
Yeah. Oh, congratulations.
I just need like one of those little clappy hands things. You remember those toys?
Yeah,
Like,
little clappers. Everybody give him a round of applause. You're a winner of one of our fine treadle hammer kits. Everybody excited? They still
are.
commenting.
Yeah, they're catching on.
They're catching on now?
Takes a minute. But yeah, I'll show you guys the sticker. There's a close-up of the one sticker we've been giving away also for this year.
There you go. What's up?
Tim O'Connor, who's like every other comment has been possum tongs for Timmy. He's trying so hard to win Keith's tongs.
He wants some, you know, Keith would probably sell you a set. You don't have to try so hard. But I appreciate the effort.
Speargrass, have a good night.
Take care, Adam. Thank you for being here, brother. God bless you.
Bill Will has a sticker already. What'd you slap it on?
All right. All right, all right. Let's continue to forge this, eh?
All right.
Sound good?
Yep.
Go to camera 2, Jess.
Okay.
So now this will probably be the trickiest bit of the forging. Don't worry about it. Just get onto it. Good. Work up in the meat of it, not out at the tip. When you're scooping, Thomas, stop. When you're hitting too much with your toe, it throws it this way. Okay. When you match the pitch and angle, it compresses it between the anvil, and it does not have anywhere to go. So if it's kicking it back, that means you need to drop your heel further down. See how that's not kicking it out as bad? Because your pitch is perfect on it. Well, A little more there. All right, we're slowly rounding this up. It's going to take probably another heat or two to round that off better. Get it hot again. So what I was telling Thomas there, we can go to camera number 1. Mm-hmm. You there?
Yep.
So what I was telling Thomas there, whenever you're forging a taper, okay? You're forging a taper with a striker. Let's go to camera 2.
Okay.
Be good. Good example there. If your hammer blow is too sharp or too flat when it comes in here, it's going to kick your piece away every time. So as you hit it, it's going to want to move as rapidly away from that edge as possible. So what's going to happen is your piece is going to get shifted this way, and it's going to expel the actual part that you're working on the opposite direction. If your angle is too steep, like this, and you hit on the piece, it's going to have the same effect. If your angle and pitch is correct, it will almost stick and stay in spot, because all of the force is being translated to the anvil, or to the piece, through the anvil, and back up into the hammer. The force is neutralized, or it's equalized there. If it is at a diagonal, you're putting the hitting energy is going into the ramp or to that taper, and it's being redirected down this way, if you will. So it's actually being redirected down the hillside. So as you hit here, it's going to slide away on you, and it's going to move that piece. So the kinetic energy that should be bouncing between the hammer face and the anvil getting the work done is now being translated down the mountain slope and out the end. So then it's kicking your piece out like so. So when you're working on a piece, say you're drawing a taper by yourself, and every time you hit the piece, it just keeps kicking back out of the way, right? Or it keeps climbing up into your tong hand, right? We've all had that where it just drives right back up into the tongs, the jaws of the tongs, and maybe mars up your piece that you're working on. If you're doing that and you're hammering on this piece and it's having this tendency to kick back, your angle of approach is either too steep or not steep enough. And that's why it's translating that energy. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So just a pro tip there for you. That is why that is happening to you. So when you're working with a striker, or this will really show itself bad if you're on a power hammer. If you're on a power hammer, this will show this to you quick. Forging tapers on a power hammer, it'll just jam that thing right back into you every time, unless you hit it hard enough and your dies are sharp enough that they create a bite where they almost chomp it up, right? They almost chew up the material, which is bad. So if you're tapered on tapered dies, it almost wants to push you back out if your taper is not the correct angle. It wants to squirch you right out the end there. So something to keep in mind. That is why it does what it does. Camera 2?
Yep.
See how it's barely kicking back now? Well, see how it's barely kicking back now on Thomas? That's because his pitch is correct. If for whatever reason that pitch changes and it's incorrect, the piece is going to let us know that he's not following the correct taper. So his hitting energy goes into pushing the piece out versus forging the piece. Wish the hammer blows kind of come off the edge because we're working that tip. Hear that dull thud almost? Mm-hmm. That dull thud is the byproduct of the piece getting all the kinetic energy and moving for you. Well, starting to get more round. Still got a little bit of squat to it this way, a little bit of flat. So we're going to have to kind of work on the top and bottom a little bit more, this side, and roll it into the bottom. You see what I'm saying, Thomas? So work on that. Let's go and wire wheel that out real quick. Just get some of that excess trash off of there. Good. You can see how clean you can get a piece by good, careful forging. This is going to really save on grind work. So grinding this anvil will be a dream as long as we continue to force it the right way and forge it properly. Thomas did a much better job that time of matching the angle. If his hammer was too tilted like he was doing at the beginning, or too tilted that way, it was kicking it all over the place on me. It was very hard to control. But now that he has found that angle and he's matching that pitch, it's rolling up very nicely. So good job, Thomas.
Thank you.
And watch that tip. Almost make that tip go on the outside of the fire's edge. You know what I mean? There you go. And we're just kind of open pit heating that now. Huh?
I said good evening to Baka. Gotta run.
Good evening, good evening.
Meshuga Devlars is a new subscriber and asks, is a treadle hammer like a power hammer?
No. So, no and yes. So, a treadle hammer is like a step in between a power hammer. A treadle hammer is more like a one-hit hammer, like you would have with a striker. Okay? Treadle hammers are very handy tools to use top tooling under, to do operations where you need to, say, punch a hole, right? Where you need an extra hand. And so you can't be swinging the hammer. So instead you have to put a piece between your legs and, work with a hammer, tongs in one hand and hammer in the other, right? And you got a bar of steel between your legs. Now you can just work with the bar of steel and a top tool, and then you use your leg, boom, to drive a sledgehammer head, to drive the blow. A power hammer, or a mechanized hammer of any sort, whether it be air-powered, whether it be a utility air hammer, be a self-contained power hammer, a mechanical hammer, or even long ago they had hydraulic hammers. Rather be one of those, they are usually set up to give a lot of rapid blows. They're not set up to be a one blow kind of machine. You start hammer, not that they can't put little light blows or not that they're not controllable enough that you can't just get one single hit, but they are designed for speed and efficiency at drawing out material. That's what power hammers were meant for, is to make the arduous job of a smith producing tapers, drawing out long bar sections, knocking off corners, stuff like that. Power hammers were really designed, and they show their best use case scenario when you're drawing out a lot of material. That's what a power hammer is for. So a treadle hammer is not that. So if you have a manually foot-operated treadle hammer, you're going to give yourself hip problems if you try to use it like a power hammer and draw out a bunch of heavy, chunky stuff. It may have an 80, 100-pound head to it, like some of the old swing arm hammers, or like the Clay Spencer tire hammer. It may have a 75-pound ram on it, but that weight is there to take and drive a tool, top tooling. It's not there for you to use your foot and constantly work it to draw out a piece. That being said, with my treadle hammer kit, that's why I added an air cylinder, an air assist. The air assist to it, it's still a single blow hammer, so it doesn't cycle, but every time you just tap your foot, if you can keep tapping your foot to the beat, if you will, you can get it to rapidly strike your material like a power hammer. So then it's kind of a bit of a hybrid, if you will. But specifically, treadle hammers and power hammers are two separate tools in a blacksmith shop. Doesn't mean a treadle hammer can't help you. Treadle hammer could help you draw out material for short runs. You're not going to want to take and draw out something for 18, 20 inches on a treadle hammer. You're going to have hip issues. Great question. Huh?
A couple of comments around treadle hammers.
Go ahead.
Flockhammer sent a $50 super chat and said, so excited to get the kit and put it to use. Thank y'all for the videos and the streams you do, and email has already been sent.
Very awesome. Very awesome. Thank you so much for that $50. Greatly appreciate the support.
Jeff Killian says, I love my Christ-centered Ironworks treadle hammer. I strongly suggest the air assist.
Oh. Very appreciate that, Jeff.
Possum Sausage says, I mainly use my treadle hammer for stamping my mark or using a flatter, but I'd love to have a power hammer for making drifts.
For making knives?
Drifts.
Okay, I was about to say, get out of here. Possum. Coming down too much with the toe. Well, I got it from here.
Sean Grubb, glad you enjoyed the live stream.
Thank you for being here. Nice. All right, I think that's in grindable territory now.
Question.
Looky
It
there.
would still be round. We heated this and just upset it a little bit to give it that. Would that affect this? And it
Yes,
showed
it would.
it would affect it?
Yeah, at this point, if we heat this up and we drive this anymore, these are going to chicken wing on us.
I see.
And they're going to move around on us, and then we're going to spend probably 4 or 5 more heats bringing them back in order, if you will. So, a good question, though. So we got good confirmation on everything there. I think that looks out pretty good. Now we just got grinding work to do on that. What do you think, hon?
Mm-hmm. It looks nice. I was gonna say it's deceptively smaller on the video than it is in real life.
Yeah. Well, it's a distance thing.
Mm-hmm.
Good. All right, good. Good. Thank.
Mm-hmm. Looks nice.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and put the baby to bed in the fire, in the dying heat of the fire there. So this way, this piece can, naturally anneal itself here, and then this is ready now, basically for grinder work. We've forged very close to dimension, and so now all that's left is a little bit of grinding work on it. As you can see, I'm pretty happy with the way this one turned out, to be honest with you. I think it has very clean lines to it. And it's really, really what I was after. How about anybody else? What do you think, hon?
Mm-hmm. It looks good. I like it.
So, It's nice and square. The conformation is good. It's not leaning one way or the other. It's good and square the opposite direction. It's going to be fairly easy to grind that top, or should be, to get it nice and faced off and get that round horn perfectly just sharp as a tack, which is going to be awesome. And so got some heat treat work to do it. When I take it to the point of heat treating, when I go heat it up, we'll throw our touch marks in it. Thomas and I touches marks. We'll throw the shop's hallmark in it. And then I will also stamp in, before I do all that, I will make sure I stamp in 500K, 500,000 subs into it. So this way, whoever wins it will always have that memento. Oh, which Jeff Killian, lucky dog.
I know.
He got the last one. So Jeff, you're excluded from this one, buddy.
He says this one's almost as nice as the mini anvil.
Yeah, almost as nice. The mini anvil is pretty sweet, though. So, yeah, so now we're going to go and put this to bed. We're going to keep it hot, put it in the forge, let it slowly die out with that fire, do all the grind work, and it will be ready. Hopefully, it should be ready by next live stream, fully finished out, ready to go, and ready to be given away in the next live stream.
Night, night, little buddy.
All right.
Bobby Lana says, great job, guys.
Thank you, thank you. So, that brings us, oh yeah, that feels good. Yeah, this happens all the time in the shop. You wonder why I keep him around. All right, so now, if we will, we're going to give away some dinner triangles. And we're going to do a bit of Q&A. So I've been really enjoying the questions and answers. We're going to do just a little bit of Q&A. And we're going to give away the dinner triangles and possum sausage tongs.
Okay.
So, do we want to do the Q&A first, or do we want to do the giveaway items?
It's up to you. I mean, it's up to you. I imagine now that you said giveaway, we'll probably start getting people commenting anyhow.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and give away possum sausages, Thomas. We're going to save Thomas's there for after that. I'm going to let Thomas show them off again and do that. So let's go ahead and give away Keith Bair's giveaway tongs, his giveaway items for this month. So thank you, Keith. Greatly appreciate you, brother, for donating the tongs. When you win these tongs, you will have to get with us, and we will pass your information on to Keith Bair. And he will ship directly from his house, is the way he'll do it, from his forge. It saves a lot in the shipping costs, so it's not a burden on us. It's not like he has to ship it to us, spend the money that way to get it to us, and then we have to repackage it and ship it to you, right? We save a little bit of money that way all around, and it's a great deal. So that's what we're going to draw for now. So put tongs in there, Bair, Keith, possum, sausage, something in your chat right now if you're interested in winning a pair of tongs. And thank you, Possum Sausage, for making them for the channel. Greatly appreciate it. We ready?
Yes, we are.
Good.
Yep.
2, go. Who do we have, Jess?
Let's see. The first one is Gunther Hosfra. Are those pass-through tongs?
Oh, he was asking.
Gunther Hosfra. Is he going to be the winner? That's decided?
Yeah, he's the first comment I pulled up with the word tongs in it.
Okay. Are those going to be pass-through tongs? I
Although,
don't know.
Did we say this is going to be in the U.S.? Did we say that? I'm not sure if he's...
I'm not sure.
Okay. It's in the giveaway description. Should we pull it back up or wait for him to answer? It's supposed to be... Okay.
Hey, we draw the name. It's who it is.
Yes.
Gunther Hosfra. Congratulations.
All right.
You're the winner of the tongs.
They're flat jaws.
They're flat jaw tongs.
The pictures I have, Keith, I didn't give him very much notice, so they're in process, but he'll have them finished by the time they ship.
Yeah. That's up for you to work out. Oh, all right. What has been given has been given. So let it be written. So let it be done.
Need like a bell.
There we
you
go.
know, like ding.
Yeah. So I will hand model Thomas's dinner bells now.
You get to hand
And
model
I'll let
them.
him tell you a little bit about it. So this is the single leaf one that we're going to give away. I'll let Thomas tell you a little bit about it.
So before this, I've never made dinner bells before. Wanted to play around with it a little bit, so I decided to make a little leaf. With Roy's wonderful advice there, he said, if you make anything that comes off, make sure it does not touch the leg. And he actually showed me that, and anything that will touch a leg deadens the sound. Definitely learned that a lot. And he came over to my shop, and we had a great day there, shooting a little video, and that's what you got there. So if you can make them a little thicker, they sound a better resonance. They're a little higher pitch than if you make it out of thinner. So definitely a great learning adventure for me. So.
Well, thank you for making that for us, buddy.
Yep.
So we go back to main cam, Jeff.
All right.
And so comment leaf triangle or triangle, dinner bell, something, chow's on. And we're going to ring this.
Oh,
for-
yeah.
Oh,
We'll
yeah,
do that.
that's a
That'd
good
be
idea.
good. Yeah.
So are we commenting?
Yep. All right. First one is possum sausage with dinner bell.
Awesome!
Is that the two leaf or the single leaf?
Single leaf.
Okay.
Congratulations, possum sausage. You better get with me within 24 hours.
You better.
You better.
Him, not me.
Or
Him.
that's it. You and Thomas aren't friends anymore. Want to see that for a second? Oh, congratulations, Keith. Glad you won this. So to go a little bit more, I plan on doing a video. I don't think I have any dinner triangle videos out there. I've made a whole boatload of these. So I probably should do a video on making dinner triangles. The trick to harmonics is vibration, right? So hear how that rings like that? Are we at camera 2?
Mm-hmm.
So this thing's still vibrating. Actually, I can feel it vibrating through the cord. The trick to the trick to harmonics is the vibration going through this piece or through a substance like steel or a bit of pipe or something like that. And so if you take an item, a decorative item like this leaf here, and you guys can't see it on video, but Thomas did a good job of keeping this leaf completely off of this bar. And the reason for that being is if this touches, it has a place to buffer that vibration. So if you think about it, if this piece, if this end of the bar was moving up and down, resonating up and down, and you were to put something within that path, within that arc path of that resonance, it's going to butt up against that and slowly but surely through friction stop this piece from resonating. So in order to give it as much resonance as possible, you have to make sure nothing touches it. The other thing when designing a dinner bell like this, a dinner triangle, the thought is you might want to take and hold it up here, right? Hold it up by this loop or maybe this area that you see that he's got this leaf on. But actually, if you hold it by this portion up here, even though the rest is flowing freely, see how it does not ring nearly as good? Now, it'll ring a little bit better if you were even less connected to it, say if it was swinging on a string. But now, if we leave both of our ends and we've disconnected ourselves from the vibration so they can work their way through the entire piece, now we've got our ring. So, but if you were to take and put your finger down right here, I'm just going to touch it. See, it's still good, but I'm trying to stay as removed as possible. But as soon as you get to one of these ends, do you see what I'm saying? Because we have stopped those ends from resonating and creating those things. So when you design dinner bells, think about that when you do this. And just like if you all ever seen a demonstration where someone plays music on like wine glasses, right? And they fill them with various bits of water. They have a certain amount of volume in those, and it changes the pitch or the tune, right? Have you ever seen somebody play that? Woo, woo, woo. You know, they play a whole musical note out of that. Or somebody will play chimes or, you know, drums, heck, anything that has resonance this way. The larger this is, the lower and deeper the tone, but the longer it will resonate for. So if, say you made this out of 1-inch bar, and it was a big triangle, and you ring on that thing's going to ring and resonate for a very long time. Versus if you make this out of 1/4-inch rod, it's not going to ring as much. There's just not enough mass there to keep motion going, right? So it's going to come and it's going to fall flat very quickly. Another thing to consider, some people will say, oh, you got to harden it. You know, hardness will make a difference. It will, to a small, very small degree. The biggest thing that makes the biggest difference is how free you allow this piece to vibrate and fluctuate back and forth. So if you're making your own dinner bell, keep that in mind. Long-winded explanations. Camera 1, so you can go back to camera 2.
Yes, yes. Todd Good asked if it makes a difference between using round and square rod.
Yes, it does. Yep, it'll make a difference. The reason why is because you have corners, right? So if you think about it like a pebble being tossed into a pond. If you toss a pebble into a pond, the way that pond is shaped, if it was square, octagon, round, right, oval, it's going to affect the way that those waves carry and come back, right? If it's a perfectly round pond and you're perfectly in the center of the pond, you're going to have a perfect wave pattern that comes and fluctuates back, right, back and forth. But if it was a square, right, pond, and you dropped a pebble at dead center of it, now it's going to bounce those frequencies, it's going to bounce those waves differently as they come back, and they're going to collide differently. So therefore, with sound waves, they're going to create a different acoustics to it, whether it be square or round. And if you think about it as square, you're not working with just a square, a flat plane, an infinitely flat plane. You are working with a cube. So you've got, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 6 dimensions it's coming back, resonating from. So there's going to be, so it will have a noticeable change versus a round rod. But the main difference, the main thing is to keep it open. You can make it out of square, it just won't hum as good as a round rod will.
And talk about the twisting. If you want to try to get decorative with it, if you put a twist in there,
Yep.
that changes it as
Yeah,
well.
same thing if you put a twist in there. If you put a twist in it, you're going to change that sine wave again. You're going to change the resonance that's in that piece. All of which you should experiment with. You don't have to make a full triangle to experiment. You can get a regular bar and drill a hole and put a little thread through it and hold it and whack the bar and see how it rings. Then you could get one in square or octagon or whatever and keep hitting them in different sizes, right? And you can find what works best for your particular project. And I highly suggest you do that and keep a bunch around. That way you can say, hey, look, see, that makes that kind of tune, and you can make a really neat chime.
That would probably make an awesome video.
Do you think it would make an awesome video?
I think it would. Different shapes and what they sound like. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'll add it to my to-do list.
Yeah.
Add it to my to-do list.
Right on it.
Oh, there's a Smith. He's known. He's known about. I would say that he's well known on Facebook. His name's Randy McDaniel, and in fact, his teaching tapes were one of the first kind of formal educating that I got to even experience in blacksmithing. And he makes these sculptures that are they're like singing reeds, if you will. And so they're rods. There's these rods. Sometimes they're stainless steel, sometimes they're iron, but they have different like pipes, like cattails, up at the top. and they're all weighted a little bit differently. And so when the wind blows, these reeds actually cling together, and as they cling together, and it's a sculpture piece, it's a bigger sculpture piece, which I find it's very neat. It's a neat take on wind chimes, right? And each one's filled a little differently, so it plays a melody. So as they come and knock together, it plays a melody as the wind blows, and they come and they hit each other.
What was that guy's name again?
Randy McDaniel.
Randy McDaniel.
Yeah, Randy McDaniel. His forge is, I believe it's Dragonfly Forge, and he also runs the site Expressive Metals, and he also has really a wonderful book on building hydraulic presses, and he goes and he teaches classes on building hydraulic presses and how to do them properly and make them properly engineered. So I can highly recommend from that front. He has a lot of good knowledge there, been at the craft for a long time. So good guy to check out. Next one, let's give it away.
So this is where he was talking about holding it at the top. I originally designed this to go like this. And that's when I learned that does not quite work out, because it doesn't sound that great. So it's just a little take, it's a little odd shaped, but with the leaves and everything, it's organic, we'll call it that. It's organic.
Yeah. This is his organic double leaf triangle.
Yep, but sounds good.
Makes the same amount of ring.
I think so. This one I decided to do a little split behind it and draw some little leaves out, and had a little fun.
Yeah.
This was the very first one.
Go to camera 2, Jess.
Mm-hmm.
Give me that. There you go. Little double leafer. Hung from this way. It just decides it wants to be a little different.
And Possum said because he won the first one to give away an extra set of flat jaw tongs.
Oh, really?
Yep.
We'll probably do that next time. We'll do that next time. All right, we ready?
Uh-huh.
All right, so this is for the double leaf dinner triangle. We ready?
Yep.
Set. Go. Who do we have?
We have Tim O'Connor with Thomas Triangle Bell for Timmy. That's a bit of a tongue twister.
He won something.
Hey, you won it, Tim O'Connor. You got your triangle bell for Timmy. Congratulations. Get with us. Contact email. You know what to do. Description. Do it now.
I think
Tim O'Connor,
he
yeah.
won something from me before too, I believe.
What, last time S hooks? Was it S hooks?
Yeah.
Or no, regular hooks was last time.
I don't know. The days run together these days
Well,
for
he
me.
would probably
So-
he would let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. There you have it. Lots of good giveaway items went out tonight. Now let's get into the Q&A.
Okay.
Find you
Black Collar, thank you for gifting all those memberships. He gave 10 memberships and then an additional 5 memberships.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Black Collar. Everybody give him a round of applause if you haven't already.
The Legion.
Metal Man sent a $10 super chat and says, Swedge block stand is holding up great.
Awesome.
Thank you,
awesome.
Kenny.
Thank you.
Stephen Padilla says, please forgive me if it's already been said, but Ken of Ken's Custom Iron passed away. I pray that his family and friends find comfort during this time.
Nope, it has not already been said. So, yep. Remember Ken from Ken Custom Iron in your prayers. Oh, he is a huge contributor to the community out there. So, and that was rather sudden for the community, but I guess it wasn't as sudden. He passed from cancer, so lost his fight with cancer there. So, which sucks because there's several smiths have passed away here recently from guys that I know from way back in the day when I first got started into it. Kind of the walking legends as they were when I first got started in blacksmithing, and it's it's interesting. It has a different effect on me than I thought it would. It has a more profound effect on me than what I maybe thought it would. So without getting in too much into that, but it's caused me to think over the past couple weeks a little bit about, you know, what that legacy is shaping up like in the future, right? You know, what am I leaving behind for others eventually? Because I'm 35 now, but one day I will be 65. Well, hopefully I'll make it to 65. Hopefully I'll make it to 70 or 80 or 90 or 100, right? But we're not guaranteed those dates. And I've had, there's been a few guys that have passed that were cut short, you know, in their 50s. And it's just like, gee whiz, you know, it's like 15 years for me, you know. It's like just thinking about that, you know, brings you closer, you know, to your own mortality in a way. And it just hits different, I think, so for a lot of folks. So prayers go out to their family and their friends.
Joshua Rivas said, "It is so sad. I've been thinking about him a lot since learning about his passing. My first tongs were his quick tong set."
Yep. Yeah, he's helped out a lot of people with those tongs over the years. So, which is interesting because from what, you know, from the first memory I have of Ken and stuff, I can go way back to Quad State, and I remember having a talk with him and a play on his power hammer that he has, and yeah, so just first memory. And, you know, of course, I was a sniveling nosed kid in the blacksmithing industry, just barely getting started, so I didn't know what I was looking at, you know. I didn't know what to buy or do, so. But, yep, I remember talking to him. I remember Ken fondly, so.
Metal Man Production says we could ring the bell for him.
Yeah, you want to ring the bell? Ring the anvil? I'll do the ring the anvil. That's better. So, so we'll ring the anvil for Ken and his family, and a few of the other smiths that I've known that have passed away here recently. Mm-hmm. All right, more questions, Jess.
Mm-hmm. Possum Sausage says, Roy, you are my legend. You help me believe in myself in many aspects of smithing. I'm not much younger than you, but you mean the world to me.
I appreciate that, Possum.
But he's just a young whippersnapper, though.
Yeah, he's just a young punk kid.
Still wet behind the ears, wetting in his diaper.
It's once you get to a certain age, it don't much matter anymore. Like when you get in your 30s, that's why they say in your 30s, right? Mm-hmm. It's just kind of like, yeah, you're all on the downhill slide from here. So you're in your 30s. Congratulations.
Count it by the decades at that point.
Yeah, you're in your 40s, you're in your 50s, you're in your 60s. They don't say, oh, well, I'm, let's celebrate that I'm one year closer or 5 years closer to the grave than you. Let's not celebrate that. So.
Tim O'Connor says, you don't smoke though, Roy, so you've got a head start.
Yeah. Hopefully. I've done some bad stuff to my lungs though over the years, so hopefully that's cleaned out in 50 years from now.
SD says, I don't want to make it to 100. My joints won't last.
Just for that, you're going to live to 125.
Modern medicine.
Modern medicine's going to advance for everything but your joints. Just for saying it.
He's going to have bionic arms. You know how cool that would be to have a bionic arm? But now it's like a power hammer? That would be kind of wicked.
Yeah. You got like a heart that can't keep up. So your bionic arm literally kills you in the end. They're like, oh, well, we've got to make that adjustment on the next version. Version 2.0, now with 100% less death.
Yeah.
By cardiac arrest. Put a bionic arm on a 90-year-old man. Yeah. Would work out very well. All right, questions, Jess?
Yes.
Any questions? It's just mainly comments.
Let's see here. Looking for the questions. John Henry, hope you stay cool and God bless you.
Thank you. God bless you. Stay cool as well out there.
Let's see. Bill Corey says it's a cool 68 here in central Indiana today, and I'm giving a tong class tomorrow. It's supposed to be 86, and not the way it is.
Yep, that's exactly the way it is. Stay hydrated. Stay well hydrated, Bill.
Gunter says, I seen the shirt, the most disliked blacksmith. Where did that come from?
Well, that came from, so the joke, the inside joke came from a commenter that had made a comment that out of all the blacksmithing channels, I've got great content, but I am the least likable of all the blacksmith channels that he watches. So I am the least likable blacksmith of everybody that he watches content from. So I'm probably even more least likable now that I've made it a whole thing on the channel, a whole inside joke. He probably likes me even less now, now that I think about it. So anyways, I was relaying that in a live stream, I believe, once, and I had told Thomas about it. And so he thought it was amusing, so he ended up having a shirt made for me and presented it to me as being the least likable blacksmith on YouTube. So that was Thomas's invention, because he's just a swell guy, such a swell friend. We got to get another stool in here. I broke the other one. We got to get another one. It just looks weird, man. It just looks weird. It's like you're kneeling down to me. I'm like, yes, know your place, me servant. Yeah, it just looks like weird.
You need like a big carved ornate chair.
Gosh, I can't. Yeah, he needs to be in a throne or something, enshrined. It just, you're like down there, you're like, hi, Dad. Hey, guy. I'm like, geez, gotta do.
I was waiting for my bedtime story, okay?
Just any moment, I was going to go over there and just pat him on his head. It's okay, Thomas. Now that he's up with the big people, sitting at the big kids' table,
the big kids' table.
The adult table, thank you for coming up here.
Possum Sausage says, you're too close to the border when you say A, LOL.
A? Yeah, I probably am a little too close to the border. I have picked up some of that accent a little bit, here and there.
It don't go away,
it rubs off on you. It does. Yep. I have started to express things in certain ways that they express it up here.
Yeah, mannerisms.
Yeah, certain mannerisms I've picked up on. So, general cadences.
Fingers says Thomas should be fanning you with a palm frond.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Ah. So I get a stinky apron, a sweaty apron fanning. Oh, God.
Tim O'Connor, yes, I have our poetry ready for this evening.
Tim O'Connor's like, let's get out of this. Shut up, guys. I'm ready to hear Jessica's poem. Like, enough of your guys' nonsense. Don't talk to me. He said, peace out. I won. It's time to roll out. Get on with the storytelling.
Also, if this is, Q&A, if you guys have any questions for me too, don't got a lot of knowledge, but I got some. If you guys have any questions, if you want to shoot them my way too.
Do you have any objections without people commenting, just me randomly picking a winner for another pair of tongs for Keith, or you just really want to save that for next time?
We can do that if you like.
Okay. I'll just randomly select one. We won't make it a big deal. That way people won't have time to comment.
Okay. Well, you've already brought it to their attention via talking.
I'll do it before
they can hear you.
I know they can. All right.
All right. Jessica's going to pick one random winner in the comment right now.
Yes. Jesse Dunn with King Roy was the winning comment.
There you go. Jesse Dunn. Apparently you're winning.
You are winning some tongs.
Another pair of tongs from Keith Bair. So, until there's some valid questions there, I'm going to talk a little bit about what you guys can expect from the channel, what's coming up. So, I will be having a very special members live stream to do a membership burn-in on the membership wall. So be on the lookout, channel members, for that. That will be coming very soon, and we'll be putting names, we'll be burning more names into the shop wall. And so thank you, channel members, for supporting us and being able to do that. So that'll be a very special live stream that'll be separate from next month's giveaway live. It'll be this month, but it'll be on a separate day. So some of the things that you can expect to see coming out of the channel over the next, kind of next couple months, next few months as we start encroaching on quad state. I know it's crazy to think, but that is literally not that far away. Where have my summer go? I have no clue. It's just gone. Poof. My whole year, poof.
Well, we really haven't had much of a summer, so it
Huh.
still feels like
Yeah.
spring up here.
Yeah, but it's almost gone. It's almost gone. So some of the things that you can expect out of the channel, I will be having a video on the stands that we sell at our website, the blacksmithingblanks.com website for the, for the vise mounted tool holders. I'll be having a video come out on that. I'll be having a video coming out which will be us forging a hewing axe. So there'll be a hewing axe video that will be coming out sometime soon. There's a video coming out on the new little fly press that's behind Thomas over here that you guys have seen in some of the other videos already. There is a review video and unboxing and stuff like that for our channel sponsor this year. Our channel sponsor is Blacksmith Supply.com. So John over at Blacksmith Supply, he has decided to support the channel this year with a year-long sponsorship of us. So guess what? You'll get to take and see a video on that as well. So you'll be hearing that a lot in upcoming videos as well. I put a little ad plug in there for Blacksmith Supply, and it's about 12 seconds, I think it is. 12 or 18 seconds or something like that I've been embedding in some of the videos. So that's a noticeable change that you'll see if you do watch my videos for any length of time other than the first 30 seconds and then bounce off to another video. You'll see the ad read in there somewhere. So that's just some upcoming stuff just right off the cusp, off the top of my head. I do have a grill plan to make a grill before quad state, so that will be happening. The hewing axe will be most likely I'm going to carve it. I'm going to make a carved hewing axe. So I'm going to do some decoration into the side of it, and I might showcase that off at quad. We'll see how well it comes out. I'm not really an axe guy, so who knows? I might just keep it for my own purposes, and I might not even carve it at all. That also might happen. So those are just some things to expect. One of the other things that I'll be working on in the future is I'll be working on going through another round. It'll probably come out in the fall, maybe towards beginning of next year, is I will be working on going through and videoing like how-to videos on a lot of our blanks, our hooks, or various things that we have to offer. I'll be working on getting a collection of how-to videos together there. And then we will have hopefully by quad state, this is my goal. We'll see if I can get there or not. Don't hold me to it. I hope by quad state to have some heavy hammer upgrade kits for the treadle hammer. I hope to have that design engineered and made by quad state, and I also hope to have it fully spec'd out, designed, engineered, and made, the auto cycling upgrade for the air assist on the treadle hammer kits that we offer over at the website. So I hope to have those tied up by quad state. So you guys will see some videos on that. There will be a whole host of other little videos and just whatever kind of some filler videos as I've got time to do them. And when I say filler, I mean small project videos, stuff that doesn't take me super long to make. You'll see a whole host of those as we go along as well. But yeah, so that's some of the things that you guys can expect in the upcoming months.
I do have some questions gathered up.
Good. Let's go for it.
All right. First couple are for Thomas. Let's see. Jesse Dunn says, Thomas, how long before you started with Roy did you blacksmith?
Before starting with Roy, I met him in 2020, and I would say that really getting into it, probably 2018 is when I started. I actually built my own forge and started getting into that. But I've always monkeyed around with metal since a small child.
Black Collar Ironworks says, Thomas, did you get your start as the hand model?
I think that kind of just happened by proxy there, because this face is actually made for radio, so we were wondering, like, where does Thomas really belong? So I was super nervous of getting in front of the camera and like talking into that just box over there. So it took a little bit, but now I'm talking to you guys.
Yep.
Joshua Rivas says, Thomas, how did you work up the courage to approach Roy over and over?
So how it all really happened was I was trimming his pastor's horses, and I asked the pastor, I was like, hey, do you know where I can get some Coke? And he was like, Thomas. I was like, no, Coca-Cola for forging. And I was like, I heard that there was a blacksmith in the area, and since you're a pastor, you probably know a lot of people in the area. So he gave me Roy's name and told me where he lived. Probably shouldn't have done that.
Just sending randos to my front porch.
But I've known the pastor for quite some years, and I showed up at Roy's place and kind of was like, hey, I heard you're a blacksmith. Can I buy some Coke off you? And, you know, I'm starting to get into it a little bit heavier. I would like to make a pair of tongs. He kind of gave me the whole,
get off my front lawn.
But he was like, oh, come on in. We made a pair of tongs. And then I just processed up a pig earlier that week. So I come back again. And he was like, oh, this kid right here, what?
I'm going to start having PTSD episodes. Here we go. On here in a minute. No.
And so I was like, hey, thank you for sharing your time with me. And up here in the north in the country, everybody's your neighbor. And I live 6 miles away from him, and he's still my neighbor. And I was like, here you go. I just had this pig processed. Please have some, you know, a variety of meat that I gave him. And then we kind of just hit it off a little bit. And then at that time, I was working at a septic company. And we get laid off in the winter. And I came back again. And that time, I think I had chickens processed. And so I gave him some chickens.
It was 2 rounds of pork.
Oh, yeah, 2 rounds.
And we're not talking just like a package. Like, here's a package, like a 1 pound package of bacon.
Yeah, it like filled our
No, it was like it
freezer
filled our
side
freezer
of the fridge.
both times. And then he came back with chickens too.
Yeah.
And more pork
And,
for a 3rd time.
Yeah.
I was like, fine, I guess we'll keep the guy.
And then I worked through the winter while I was laid off. And then we went back. I had to go back to work there, and just kind of wasn't liking where it was going. And at that time, I showed my worth to Roy, and he made me an offer I couldn't refuse. And so I called my boss up and said, hey, it looks like I'm only working 4 days a week for you. And, well, needless to say, the boss man wasn't too happy to hear it, but he dealt with it. And things went down, and now I'm here full time. Well, 3 days a week. And then sometimes I'll come in Thursday, Friday.
It's full time. It's full time. He's only supposed to be here 3 days a week, but then he shows up the other 2. So
Sometimes.
it's full time. It's
got
a
some
full time
options.
gig.
So I got to keep the supplies up for all the people that
Yeah.
like to come and get our stuff.
I'd say send help.
So long-winded answer.
Send help.
Keith says, if Roy's face is made for video, what is Thomas' face made for?
The radio.
Radio.
Jesse Dunn says, showing up worked out good for both of you. Don't know who got the better deal.
Oh, he did. He got the better deal.
I would say I did.
Jake-
Roy is
No, it worked out really well. It's a mutual.
Roy has definitely shared a lot of his knowledge, stuff that has boosted my confidence level, my skill level in more ways than I could have just tinkering around in my own shop. And that's one thing I like to suggest for you guys. If there's somebody that you know in your area, or
Not me.
Yeah, not Roy. Roy's mine. But go to classes, go to some of the hammer-ins, and get to know the community. And it's a great community. And everybody here, they're very supporting. And I love all you guys.
Next,
okay. Sorry, awkward silence.
Big vacant quiet there. Waiting
I was
on you,
deciding
Jess.
where we need to go after that conversation. I'll just continue down the list.
Yeah, next.
Jacob Rawls says, Thomas, have you made anything on your trap yet?
I have not. Have you? Have you? Because Jake, you better be coming through on this one. And I did share the little competition with Roy. He may or may not join. He may still do it, but it'll probably be after our competition. But I have not worked on it. I'm horrible. I'm sorry.
Get busy.
But I still have, what was today, like the 16th or something, so I still have like 2 weeks.
It'll be here and gone before you know it.
Yes.
Next.
Robert Lana says, Roy, I almost have my new and improved bending jig made up to send to you for your shop.
Hey, I'll take it. Won't hear me complain.
Can I buy one? I would gladly buy one. You know.
Yeah.
If you do want to sell it to me, please get a hold of me.
Black Collar Ironworks says, I've got some memorable quotes from the channel to put on shirts for you, Roy. Laughy face.
Do you? There's a bunch. You know, that's the funny thing about YouTube. There's a video. There's both an audio, an audible and visual record of things I've said in the past. Some smart things, some not so smart things, some questionable things. Some legal, some not legal. You know, basically questionable things that I've said over the whole time that we've been doing on this channel. And there's records of it all. So if you care to dig deep enough.
That rabbit hole goes deep.
It does. It does. You could start a whole Teespring store just off of the weird quotes I've come up with over the years.
Jacob Brawl says, Roy, when you make flower stems, do you texture them or leave them as plain stock?
Texture. I do texture. Depending on what it is, I assess what type of flower it is, and I decide whether I'm going with a heavy texture or not. I was taught a good long while ago by one of my first mentors in smithing by the name of, he was named Wayne Apgar. Wayne Apgar, he taught an organic blacksmithing class. And when I took that class with him, and I actually took 2 years of classes with him, doing organic blacksmithing, his approach to it was, we're not trying to recreate actual flowers, right? We're not trying to recreate to the letter the actual flower. We're trying to give the impression of what we're after. So we want a lily to look like a lily. We want a calla lily to look like a calla lily, a rose to look roughly like a rose, right? So on and so forth. Tulips, daisies, you name it. You want them to have all the base elements, all the basic elements of the flower that you're going after, but you're not trying to make it look real because it looks out of place. You're not trying to fool somebody into thinking that the flower is real. We're just trying to give the impression of what we're after with the flowers. And that really helped me decide on texture. So I will look at stuff like, for instance, rose stems are kind of knotted up a little bit, right? They are, you know, some of them can be smooth, but I've seen rose stems that are almost faceted like. They got like a lot of twists and little turns to them and little spines that come off, right? And those create like flat areas. And so what I do in my work is I create those flats on a round rod to create little ridges that look like or give the appearance of maybe some of those spines or those, those little sharp barbs on the rose. I don't try to make barbs on the rose stem because that would be uncomfortable for you to hold, right? So I'm not trying to make something that will injure somebody, because a steel barb is not going anywhere, right? Like it's going to poke you for sure. So it won't flex. So I try to give the impression that there's more going on to the stem than just a piece of plain straight bar stock. But there's other flowers in the natural world that almost have zero definable character. The grain on them or the texture that on them is almost imperceivable. And in that case, you want to go with something that's kind of smooth. Maybe you just heat it up and scale it a little bit and brush it nicely, and that's all the more texture that it gets. And so that's something for you to think about when you're making flowers and on your stems. Generally, I texture my stems because steel is dark. So we're playing with light and shadow, and the best way to play with light and shadow is to add texture to a piece. You don't have to add a bunch or make it gaudy or beat it all to heck and back and makes it look like it's been drugged behind a truck for the last 80 miles. But you do need to add just a little something to make it pop from the background. That's my own personal opinion. That's my personal approach to texture.
Jonathan sent a $5 super chat and says, I think my cousin got a better deal. He needed the help. Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you. Thank you, Jonathan.
Tinker at Forge says, how big is the burn wall now? Was that 3 foot by 3 foot?
I'd say it's probably 2 by 3. It's 2 foot by 3 foot. I mean, the wall is huge that I'm burning it into,
Yeah.
but the names inhabit
Section, yeah.
Single line spacing. The names inhabit a 2 foot tall by 3 foot long area.
I think after the burn, it's going to take all that.
It might. It might take that whole section over there.
Well, somebody has the little icon. It said next to theirs 24 months. So I think we've been doing it for a solid 2 years now, but we've only burnt names on there 2 times. So it's probably going to be a significant list.
There's going to be a significant list to burn
there.
into the wall,
And
yeah.
then the Legion happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks, Black Collar.
I'll be up there for ages. Tinker at Forge says, what has been a bigger positive change, the bigger shop or the hand model?
They're asking the tough questions.
That's kind of a trying to compare.
They go a little bit hand in hand. So I would say positive change.
Mm-hmm.
Bigger positive change.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have to say the hand model. And the reason why is because when you put the spin of positive change, that indicates it's indicative of traction or movement forward. And I have to look at it as in the type of work I have produced. So even though I have a larger space, I haven't necessarily had to use this space, like use up the space, right? So it's not like, hey, I put on a 4,000 square foot addition and now I'm making gigantic dinosaurs and they're selling for billions of dollars, right? So I haven't made, obviously it's a positive thing that I have a much bigger space to expand out in and fill with all my garbage that I've got in here, right? Obviously that's positive, but as far as a movement forward or a traction in the business side of things, obviously having Thomas as the hand model. Now on a personal front, it's been nice to have him as a friend. So, there's kind of a double win there for me. And between me and Thomas, we have built a lot of stuff together. We have conquered a lot of projects together that I otherwise just wouldn't even tackled, and not necessarily forging projects. They're just things like making up. I mean, the other day, between not even full days, they were like a day and a quarter. Between a day and a quarter's worth of work an 8-hour day and about a quarter, so say 10 hours. Within 10 hours, we made 3 complete post vise stands from scratch and mounted the post vise and everything. So fabricated them, welded them, cut them. So having a second hand, somebody who's doing some welding while you're busy doing some cutting, and you come together and you both have the same plan, you can come together and you can overcome a lot of processes quicker. Building the front forks for the tractor, he helped me, with getting the hydraulics fixed as well, right? There's just been a lot of projects. All the barn siding, right, and the roof, what we're currently working on together to keep us more dry in here when it rains and things. This way I can continue to film and I don't have to shut down for the day when it decides it wants to storm, right? Those things I wouldn't have done by myself. I just wouldn't have went down there. So that's where I'll say Thomas, hands down. Way to go, bro.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you.
Tim O'Connor says, but Thomas wouldn't have fit in a small shop very well. The old one. That one was pretty crowded.
No.
We would have to do a
work
whole
under a
lot of over
tree.
and unders, and you swing left, I'll swing rights in the old shop.
You
So.
just keep me in the crate. that
Yeah,
I came in.
just in the crate.
Stephen Padilla says, when I was stationed in Wyoming, a local restaurant did some remodeling, somewhat forced by a car that ran through the wall. They invited the local ranchers to come brand the new wall.
Oh, that's
Very
kinda
cool.
pretty cool, yeah.
That's pretty neat, yeah.
Keith says, I'm glad to know that possum sausage will forever be on your barn, LOL.
Yep,
It is.
it will. Till the barn burns up or falls flat. It'll always be there.
We will, if it falls, we'll actually cut that portion out and
Yeah,
move it to the
yeah.
new shop.
It'll just be a big storyboard.
Yeah.
We hang from the other wall.
It becomes the new wall.
Yeah.
Bill Will says, Roy's next project, branding irons of the whole alphabet and number sequence.
In plasma cut form, probably.
Oh, well, yeah, that could
Yeah,
work.
there we go.
It'd have to be pretty small. Jake Ross says, Roy, when I get a few good flowers done, I will send one for a giveaway. Thanks for the advice.
Awesome. Look forward to seeing one. You're very welcome.
Gunther says, maybe this is known, but how heavy is your daily use hammer?
1 3/4 pounds. That's my daily driver. That's the one that I got on the anvil right here. So that's my 1 3/4 pounds. And if I had a nickel for every lick this thing's took, I'd have a lot of nickels. It'd be a lot of nickels. I'd almost be approaching those YouTube millions.
Would we be down in West Virginia getting those nickels?
Might be, yeah.
All right. Vice City 985 says, hey all, I am a beginner smith from NT Canada and I was looking to get educated in the craft. Can you recommend some good places in the States to do so?
Well, there's a ton of good places. So, NT Canada.
Is
Where's
that
that at?
North Toronto? I don't know.
NT?
I don't know Canada well enough to say.
It could be North Toronto, but
Anyways, or Northern Territories.
it could be North. Yeah.
Yeah, not sure on Canada. But anyways, irrelevant. If he's coming to the States. Some great places that you can go, or kind of the staples that are out there. There's Peter Valley School, Peter Valley Crafts Schools. There's a lot of blacksmithing classes and places that you can go. I believe in Virginia, there's a Virginia Institute. There's a Virginia Institute that you can actually get a degree in smithing through. Any of the clubs that are down here that have classes and stuff like that, basically every state has a group of smiths, or has even maybe an informal group of smiths that get together that you could put the feelers out for. There's John C. Campbell Folk School. There is...
What's that guy with those awesome dragon forges?
Josh Weston with the dragon forging experience. That's more of a touristy kind of experience.
Oh,
It's not a full out class. There is also Tunnel Mill. There's Touchstone Center for Crafts. There's one up here in Michigan. It's what's that one called, Jess, in Michigan here? There's one, it's a craft school
Mm-hmm.
that teaches blacksmithing.
Well, there's the Michigan Folk School. That one's a newer one.
Yeah, there's a Michigan Folk School. There is a.
Drawing a blank.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank too.
It'll come back.
There's a bunch. A quick Google search will give you a lot. Your main ones though the main ones I've been to is Tunnel Mill. I've been to Touchstone and John C. Campbell Folk School. Those are very well run. Very well run. So especially Touchstone and John C. Campbell. They've been at it for a very long time, and they bring in top-notch instructors. So those are really good. Penland, if you're got the coin to spend, you could go to Penland. They do bring in good instructors to Penland School of Crafts. That's over in PA. That's worthwhile, checking out as well.
Tim O'Connor says there's also one called Rose Forge here in Michigan.
Okay.
Tillers International.
Yeah, there's
That was
Tillers
the one I was trying to
International. I'm
think
not
of.
sure if they still are running their blacksmith program or not at Tillers.
Black Color says, Roy and Jess, you're lucky that you guys moved before I let my presence be known. I didn't live too far away from you guys. Laughy face.
We'll just count us lucky.
There might have been a different Thomas named Michael.
Yeah, there might have been a Michael instead of a Thomas.
Jason Lato says, are you making any more hammers?
Making any more hammers? Well, no. I will probably get a wild hair at some point and decide to make some more hammers. It'll be a one-off if I do. I would like to go ahead and do a another carved hammer, but I have one for myself that I would like to do. It's a good wintertime project. I have several big kind of masterpiece pieces that I'm working on right now that I'll be working on. Busy just in the design phase right now. So those are probably going to come first before I take any sort of bunny trails and do hammers. So it might not be for a year or two before I get around to one. I do want to make a replacement for this hammer. I have quite the love and affinity for this hammer because this hammer that is my daily driver represents a ton of firsts for me. So if you want to go a second there. It was the first time. So it was my first time successfully forge welding. My first time forge welding steel faces to a wrought iron hammer. My first time working with wrought iron. My first time making a hammer. And also my first time doing any sort of chasing work. That's a lot of firsts in one piece. And it was also the first class I ever took with Tom Latané. And Tom Latané is, I'm a big fanboy of Tom Latané. Most of you don't know who he is, but he is a master locksmith up in Pepin, Wisconsin. And so I did the majority of my learning internship, if you will, with him. So apprenticing with Tom. So, yep. So I would like to make a replacement hammer for this hammer. Something that's out of a mono steel versus wrought with steel faces. I love the wrought with steel faces, but I'm definitely afraid that one day this face will separate, or I'll get some sort of problem, maybe crack it, or otherwise destroy it, right? Because I have beaten tonnage of steel with this hammer. And so I would like to preserve it at some point, kind of dress it up a little bit and put it in a box as kind of a representative of, the amount of years I spent with it, just to take and save it and make something else as its replacement. I would still go with about 1 3/4 pounds, maybe 1.5 pounds type hammer. 1.5 pounds, 1 3/4. I think 1 3/4 pounds is about perfect for me. So if I make hammers in the future, I've got one on the docket. It is actually a very interesting hammer because it's basically to be called the Heaven and Hell hammer. There is a fight, basically like a war, that'll be portrayed on the hammer. So it'll be a carved hammer with angels fighting back the darkness, that sort of thing. Angels and demons fighting. That's all I'm going to say about it. But that will become my then hammer that I use in the shop always. I've got like 5 other designs I'd be interested in doing, like highly carved hammers with, and then selling them, selling off the additional designs. But she'll be a wee bit before I go that route.
Tim O'Connor says, heck, there's even classes now in Frankenmuth. And Russell Niner says, I've heard about those classes in Frankenmuth. Yep, that is.
Yep, that's ran by Josh Weston.
The forging.
Yep.
The Barbarian forging.
The Barbarian Blacksmith
Yes.
forging experience. Yep.
Vice City, thanks for joining as a member.
Thank you, Vice City. Good to have you.
Bill Will says, thanks to Roy and his year of the Forge giveaways, I made my first Damascus billet. Need 3 more, then I can start shaping a hammer for a friend.
Very cool. Very cool, Bill. Glad that's working out. The dove's coming back to roost.
Yeah.
Bill Will says, that sounds like an awesome hammer, Roy. Will it be for sale?
No, that'll be my personal hammer. The one that I make, that'll be a personal hammer. That'll keep. So it'll be a museum quality piece someday that someone will take to the scrapyard or hawk it at a pawn shop for like $12.
So we'll have a museum one day.
$12, I think. $2.50.
$2.50, so fine. I'll take what I could get.
All right. Well, that's all the questions. We've been going about 3.5 hours, so.
Okay, long time.
Yeah.
All right, long time no see them. So I'll go ahead and wind it down so Jessica can get to her poem. Mm-hmm. Thank you everybody for being so patient with me. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching the channel. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for all the memberships. Just thank you in general for being some really great guys and gals out there. We couldn't be doing this without you. That's why it's so fun. That's why we're sitting here talking with you guys and hanging out right at the end. I get just as much from this as what I hope I'm giving out there to you all, and I hope to continue to do this in the future. The channel, the channel has grown exponentially, which is amazing. I hope it continues to grow. One of the best ways that you can support us, realistically, other than monetarily, is watch the videos and watch them all the way through. I don't care if you're not even watching the screen, but let them play at least all the way through. That really, really helps right now on YouTube, because YouTube is YouTube is very centered around how long someone watches a video for. And unfortunately, with the flea brain world that we live in and everybody having 4-second attention spans, but thank you TikTok for that. It's hard as an educational channel to keep up putting up 30-minute videos or long-form content when only 3 minutes of them get watched. So please share the videos, share them out there, watch them through if you can. If you could do that for me, that is a huge help, and that will go a very long way in the continuing Christ Center Ironworks on YouTube. And so, that's the only plea I'll put out there for you. Thank you to everybody be here. Congratulations to all the winners. And thank you, Thomas, for your help today.
Oh, no problem.
And all the work that you're going to be probably doing on grinding that anvil come Monday.
Awesome.
And without further ado, we'll turn it over to Jess, right? You want to say one thing?
Oh, I was just going to say, thank you guys for all coming out. Congratulations to all the winners. Appreciate you guys coming out and spending your Friday night with us. And over to Jess.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All right. I read this poem earlier, and I'm like, it's perfect because it's summer, so we're going with a summer-themed poem today. This one is called The Song of the Brook. I chatter, chatter as I flow to join the brimming river. For men may come and men may go, but I go on forever. I steal by lawns and grassy plots. I slide by hazel covers. I move the sweet forget-me-nots that grow for happy lovers. I slip, I slide, I gloom, I glance among my skimming swallows. I make the netted sunbeams dance against my sandy shallows. And out again I curve and flow to join the brimming river. For men may come and men may go, but I go on forever. Alfred Tennyson. Everyone have a wonderful weekend and a happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there.
Happy Father's Day, everyone. Take care.
Happy Father's Day, guys.